watching Conference USA baseball tonight on ESPN. It's an overcast night here in Lynchburg. That's the scene for a consequential Conference USA series. Tonight, Liberty looks to build on their newfound momentum. They'll host a Western Kentucky team that's off to a great start so far this season. And with that, we welcome you to Worthington Field here in Lynchburg with Brent Jenkins. I'm Noah Frary, and this is a huge weekend for these two teams. And Brent, some big-time postseason ramifications. Why is this so key for both squads?
Yeah, big-time matchup. Two of the top three teams in Conference USA at this point jockeying for conference position, but also top 50 of the RPI with an at-large, possibility coming down the stretch here.
Now, Western Kentucky boasts a big-time offense, and they are led by one Ryan Weidman, who's putting up some otherworldly numbers this year.
Yeah, Weidman's a true five-tool player. Been a huge, addition for them this year. Really can do it all. He's a terror on the base pass, and Liberty will look to try to control him, and also, strong defensively as well.
He leads Conference USA with a .452 batting average this season. Meanwhile, for Liberty, Jackson Sorensen's looking to rebound after a tough weekend against MTSU.
Yeah, Sorensen's obviously been the key cog all year for the Flames in the middle of the lineup. Marsh and Early have been getting on base a lot, setting the table, and it'll be key for Sorensen to get those guys home as many times as possible this weekend.
Big power numbers could be difficult tonight, though, with the flags blowing in from right field. Well, we've got a big-time Conference USA showdown coming up. Introduce you to Liberty's starting pitcher in the Western Kentucky lineup on the other end. Back in Lynchburg, Virginia, is Liberty and Western Kentucky getting set to square off. And a look there at Dylan Matheson making his 12th start of the year, and Brent coming off of his best start of the season.
Yeah, Matheson's super efficient. 6 innings last time. I think he was right around 65 pitches. And as you said, his best start of the year, and has been building that way for a while now.
Now Matheson getting set to face a Western Kentucky lineup that has been loaded throughout the season. The top 4 hitters in this lineup hitting north of 340 this year. We get a look at that batting lineup brought to you tonight by Jersey Mike's. Carlos Vasquez leads it off on a 6-game hitting streak. Ryan Weidman, who we already touched on, bats in the 3-hole today, riding an 8-game hitting streak. And they've gotten some nice hitting from the bottom of their lineup. Kyle Hayes will bat in the 6-hole at first base, and Austin Haller rounding out the lineup for Mark Rardin as we get set for first pitch here in Lynchburg. Vasquez is ready, Matheson is as well. Let's do it here from Lynchburg. And Matheson with a 92-mile-an-hour fastball right down the middle against Carlos Vasquez, who comes in riding a 6-game hitting streak into tonight. A couple of early swing and misses here from the Flames ace.
Yeah, Vasquez really going after those first 2 fastballs there. Matheson kind of sitting in the low to mid-90s early, getting out early.
Matheson misses outside. He has been incredibly efficient lately, and coming off of a start that saw him go a career-high 6 innings pitched in Game 1 against MTSU last Friday night. That's sent into right field. Troyer giving chase. It will land well foul. These two of the best in Conference USA this season. Western Kentucky coming in 6-3. Liberty at 5-4. And Brent, this feels like a big-time series for momentum for both of these teams down the stretch of the year.
It is, yeah. This is really, Western Kentucky played Dallas Baptist last week, took 2 of 3 from them, so they're feeling confident. Liberty swept Middle Tennessee State, so right in that key middle part of the season, that'll really catapult you towards how you're going to finish the year.
1-2 pitch here from Matheson. Fouled off again. Vasquez with a couple of good swings early.
Good looking off speed there from Matheson.
The 1-2 cut on and missed. And Matheson picks up his first strikeout of the evening.
It's big to keep him off the base pass. Vasquez is obviously, a threat and really the table setter that starts good things for Western Kentucky.
Look at the Flames starting defense tonight. Barone, Robertson, and Troyer from left to right in the outfield. Seeley, Marsh, Early, and Sorensen in the infield. Christmas gets the start behind the plate after a big weekend last weekend. And a first pitch swinging there. Ethan Lazama. Azama shows bunt, pops it straight up. Sorensen has a look, unable to make the catch, and wasn't getting any help there from the Western Kentucky dugout.
No, not at all. You know, good sign again from Matheson early, getting the front on both early hitters 0-2. That's a tough play there. The ball just didn't stay in the air quite long enough for Sorensen to get to it.
That was the third base dugout. You might have got a little bit more help, but the Hilltoppers were not helping out Sorensen at all on that tough play. Matheson looking for a second strikeout. Sky-high pop-up. Playable for Sorensen in foul territory, and he'll make the catch for a quick out number 2.
Great start for Matheson there. Both off-speed pitches kind of leading to 2 outs for him. Really boring in on the hitters for Western Kentucky early.
Matheson has been so efficient this season on the bump. And our first pitch to Ryan Weidman, who comes in hitting .452 on the season. That number tops in Conference USA. What a year it has been for this young man, a junior who's trying to position himself to be drafted in the upcoming MLB draft.
Yeah, you would think MLB scouts will certainly be looking at him, you know, the possibility of a 5-tool player here doing it all for Western Kentucky this year. What a find.
Weidman with another big swing, and the one thing Matheson has done a nice job early on, Brent, is getting ahead in counts against this Western Kentucky offense.
Yeah, he's been 0-2 or 1-2 on all 3 hitters so far, which is key to keep that pitch count down. You know, Liberty likes to keep Matheson in that 60 to 70 pitch range and get him through somewhere between 4 and 6 innings.
We'll miss outside to Weidman, who comes in riding an 8-game hitting streak into tonight's game. Scored a couple of runs, had an RBI in that midweek win. 2-2. Slapped down the right field line, hooking foul. And a loud foul ball there for one Ryan Weidman.
Yeah, you can see the talent, you know, on that swing there, just pushing the ball to right field, giving, you know, taking what Matheson's given him, and almost squeezed it in there for another extra base hit.
I would opine you can almost hear the talent there as well with the sound coming off of that bat. It's been very pure here early on.
Yeah, very, very impressive.
Matheson's 2-2, and off the glove of Marsh at short. Weidman thinking about going for 2, makes the big turn, and now retreats back to first, where he instantly becomes a threat to run.
Yeah, real professional at bat from Weidman there. Stayed back on the breaking ball and hit a line shot that Marsh couldn't handle there at short. And yeah, 27 of 34 on stolen bases for the year, and probably has the green light if he wants to go.
I don't know if he has ever run into a stop sign in his career with the speed that he has over there at first base. But you have to pay attention to Marsala at the plate as well. There goes Weidman. Pitch fouled off.
Wasted no time on taking a look there, and probably had it stolen.
And that's sometimes where if you're the batter, you just want to pull back and let him have second, and then you've got a runner in scoring position.
Yeah, a little surprised there, but again, you know, trying to make something happen early.
Thomas Marsala at the plate, hitting north of 300 in his last 10 games. The 0-1, Weidman staying put. The cat and mouse game begins here between Seth Christmas, who gets the start behind the plate. He's thrown out 2 of 4 base runners that have tried to steal off of him this year. A check to first. And unlike in the major leagues, if you're used to watching Major League Baseball, there is no limit to the amount of throws over to first base. So Matheson trying to keep Weidman honest over at first. Comes home, Marsala with a big swing, sky-high pop-up into center field. Here's Robertson, and just in front of the Liberty logo, makes the catch for out number 3. Matheson gets through the first. Liberty coming back to bat when we come back. Back in Lynchburg is Jack Bennett finishing up his warm-up pitches. He will make his 8th start of the season. The junior out of Paducah, Kentucky, has been the go-to Friday night starter for Western this season.
Yeah, he's really earned the role of the Friday night. 5-0 with a 1.5 ERA and 36 innings, averaging about a strikeout per inning on the year. Kind of sitting the low 90s with a little sink and change-up slider mix. And going to want to get ahead of the Flames early and try to get through the lineup 2 or 3 times to turn it over to that talented bullpen.
Let's take a look at that Liberty lineup again, brought to you by Jersey Mike's, and a Flames team riding high after a 29-run 3-game series over MTSU. Cal Early and Tanner Marsh both come in riding lengthy hitting streaks. Jackson Sorensen looking to rebound after a tough series against the Blue Raiders. And Camden Troyer, 2 home runs, 5 RBIs last weekend, hoping to carry that into tonight.
Yeah, Cam had an incredible series last year and really had a great year all season, and perhaps the biggest telling sign for Cam, how he's had some great at-bats left on left this year, where in the past, those weren't his best at-bats by far, and he's a lot of extra base hits, driving the ball, really staying through it.
I feel like it'll be a big key tonight for that Liberty lineup to get some production from the 6, 7, 8, 9 hole as well. Yeah,
that's one of the things Coach LaCour tried to inject some additional players in the lineup, whether it's Christmas or Michael Gibson, and they're looking for some pop there.
So Matheson got through the top half of the first inning, and now Jack Bennett set to throw his first pitch in this game. Cal Early watching a first pitch on the outside corner, called a strike. He comes in riding a 6-game hitting streak. He has been on base in 22 consecutive games. What a great start to this freshman's career.
He's really taken ownership of the second base job in the leadoff spot after DeCandido went down, hitting .333, really setting the table with a .462 on base percentage for the Flames.
Early behind in the count, 0-2 to the veteran Jack Bennett on the bump tonight. And Early shoots that one the other way, foul. Jack Bennett coming off of a 4 2/3 inning pitched outing where he gave up 3 earned runs to a ranked Dallas Baptist team last Friday evening. 0-2. Early showing a good eye.
Yeah, he's exhibited a good eye really all season since he got in the lineup, and good hard contact a lot in his first at bats to really set the table for the Flames and put pressure on the opposition.
1-2. Backs up, doesn't catch the corner. A tough take there for Early. What's made his freshman year so impressive, Brent?
Yeah, I think anytime for a freshman, it's confidence a lot of times, right? And he had a good fall, I think, by all accounts, and he's really just been able to put the bat on the ball, but drive it. And also play great defense at second base.
He swings through that 2-2 offering, and Jack Bennett has his first strikeout of the evening. As we take a look at the Western Kentucky defensive alignment, there's been some changes here lately. Vasquez is playing out in left field now. Weidman in center. You've got Berrigan, Howard, Haller, and Hayes around the infield. And Camden Ross is starting to heat up behind the plate.
Western Kentucky's pretty solid defensively. Had a few problems on the right side, but pretty solid for the most part otherwise.
Tanner Marsh swinging away on the first pitch, comes in riding an 11-game hitting streak. He hit his first home run of the season in last weekend's bludgeoning of MTSU.
Yeah, Marsh has really turned it on the last couple weeks. Great at bat, looking a little more loose at the plate, fluid, and has also driven the ball when he's had the opportunity as well the past couple weeks. Those two, Early and Marsh, are so key for Liberty at the top to just set that table and have ducks on the pond for Sorensen and Barone.
It certainly helps. 0-2 pitch here to Marsh. Just off the corner. Travis Godek behind the plate here tonight. Dennis Mishaw over at first and Brian Clark at third, our umpiring crew for this first game of this critical Conference USA series for both sides. 1-2 to Marsh. Sent into shallow center field. That could be trouble. It'll drop. Weidman can't make the play, and Tanner Marsh has himself a single and a 12-game hitting streak.
Yeah, Marsh stayed back on a tough off-speed pitch and kind of fought it off and got it out into the Bermuda Triangle there in center field, and now he's on base with a chance to keep the line moving for Liberty.
An outfielder's worst nightmare right there, dropping right in there in that Bermuda Triangle, as you mentioned. And if you're Tanner Marsh, you're probably saying, well, you got to respect my home run power. The outfielders may be playing a little bit deeper than they used to early in the year, right?
That's it. Yeah, hit it where they're not, right?
This is Jackson Sorensen, just 2 for 12 last weekend. Did have a home run in that 7 home run game that the Flames had. Stares at a first pitch ball.
Good lead at first there from Marsh. He's got 10 steals on the season as well. He might be trying to get into scoring position here.
And it will be interesting to see the approach that Liberty takes in this series. Maybe a little bit more small ball here, trying to scratch across some runs against a WKU pitching staff that's been tough to score against this year.
Yeah, absolutely. You got to take advantage of it when you get opportunities and, you know, put pressure on a team that struggled a little bit defensively on the right side and behind the plate. And that could be a way to kind of maybe create and manufacture some runs.
Marsh strays off first. Bennett comes to the plate. He'll miss inside as Sorensen jackknife out of the way.
Yeah, he's pitching Sorensen very carefully, you know, trying to stay out of the middle of the plate, even with the wind blowing in.
Most dangerous hitter in this Flames lineup, a team leading 10 home runs on the season. And a check to first as Marsh is back in safely. Two of the best teams in the league. It feels already like a chess match here early on.
Yeah, this is one of those series where you just don't want to beat yourself, right? I mean, that's a lot of baseball.
Marsh going, the throw not in time, and the Flames will have a runner in scoring position.
Marsh got a huge jump there. Got an off-speed pitch, good pitch to run on. Not really much the catcher could do there.
The pitch at the plate was called a ball here, so Sorensen staring at a 3-1 pitch. A chance to do some damage here in the bottom of the first. Bennett goes to the breaking ball, and Sorensen swings over the top. Actually, it was a 2-2 count. It was wrong on the scoreboard, so now a strikeout there for Sorensen. Second of the inning for Bennett.
That was a really good off-speed pitch, really, you know, diving down and in on Sorensen. You know, a tough spot for a lefty. A lot of bite on that.
Greg Bennett, not the type of guy that's going to overpower you, but he knows how to pitch, and that's why he's been so successful this season. Here's Nick Barone at the plate. Runner in scoring position. Barone attacks the first pitch and fouls it off.
It's good to see Barone back, you know, battling a hamstring injury from a few weeks back, and really jumped right back in the thick of things, like he wasn't out at all. But the Flames certainly missed him, you know, while he was out of the lineup.
He leads this Flames team in slugging percentage this season. He's been a big bat, primarily in the 4-hole all season long. 0-1 from Bennett. Sent into center field. Weidman took a step back, now drifts back and makes the catch for the final out of the inning. Jack Bennett works in and out of trouble, and we head to the second here in Lynchburg. Back in Lynchburg here, tied up as we head to the second inning between Western Kentucky and Liberty. And these two teams don't necessarily have a ton of history. Just 3 games total between these two programs, all taking place last year in Liberty's first year in Conference USA. But one of the key talking points when we spoke with Western Kentucky head coach Mark Rardin is he talked about how good Liberty is at playing at home. Brent, how do you expect that to rear tonight?
Yeah, 17-4, and you know, you look at both teams really have played around 10 to 12 home game or road games, excuse me, and both teams kind of a little bit below 500, sitting right around 500. So usually you build your club to play at home, right? And both of these teams play in pitchers' parks, where the rest of the Conference USA is predominantly hitters' parks. So built accordingly.
This could become a series to watch on a yearly basis between these two teams. Both teams under fairly new leadership and both trending in great directions. And Dylan Matheson continues to just pour in first pitch strikes. 4 of the first 5 batters he has faced have faced a first pitch strike. And Brent, why is that so important for him out there tonight?
Yeah, two reasons. I mean, one, he wants to get deeper into the game and preserve the bullpen in the key series, but also just keeps him off balance, and he's able to stay out of the middle of the plate.
If you're the fielder on a cold night tonight, you don't mind seeing him work quickly on the mound, try to get back into the dugout.
That's it. Keeps your fielders engaged, especially on the infield, and more likely to make plays for you.
Some kids chasing for that foul ball off the bat of Camden Ross out there on that right field berm. Ross hitting .342 on the season. He had gone through a bit of a lull, but appears to be breaking out of it. Upstairs there for Matheson.
He's one of the guys that had some draft attention, coming into the year, and still having pretty good. You're one of the 7 guys hitting above 300 in this deep Western Kentucky lineup.
And a big swing, and Matheson is his second strikeout of the evening.
Yeah, Matheson just continues to stay ahead early, and then able to keep the Western Kentucky hitters off balance and able to finish them.
Dylan Matheson putting up some big strikeout numbers this year. He has 5 or more strikeouts in 9 of his 11 outings. Already with 2 so far tonight against this top-ranked WKU offense. They'll start Kyle Hayes off here with the first pitch ball. Hayes comes in riding a 4-game hitting streak into tonight. Falls behind in the count 2-0. And if you're the batter on a 2-0 pitch, Brent, what are you looking for?
Yeah, you're really looking for one spot. You're not guessing, right? You're just going to look for either sit off speed or sit fastball, and if it's not there in that zone, you're going to take it.
Looked like he wanted to swing the bat right there, couldn't pull the trigger.
Yeah, just a little bit inside, probably from what he was looking, but very good pitcher's pitch.
Matheson continues to work quickly. The check swing, did he go? No, says our first base umpire. Cut through. We've seen Matheson working in that 91, 92 mile an hour range. Not overpowering stuff out there, but seems to have some late life.
Yeah, really nice movement on the end, kind of cut action. And that's his game.
He has been one of the best strikeout pitchers in Conference USA this season. If you're into those advanced numbers, 13.5 strikeouts per 9 innings this season for Matheson on the bump. And that one just missed the corner. Matheson and Christmas both wanted that call. They didn't get it.
Yeah, that's right there. Borderline pitch.
Now, third baseman Drew Berrigan.
Just a bit inside. Not a bad 3-2 pitch at all, though. Take a chance. If he swings at it, gets himself weak contact. If you walk him, you kind of get a little bit towards the lower part of the lineup out of those 300 hitters.
Drew Berrigan at the plate. First pitch strike there on the inside corner. Berrigan coming off of a midweek game where he went 2 for 4, had an RBI. It's the start at third base this evening. Hard hit back up the middle. It gets through. Robertson will cut it off in the gap, but now 2 runners on with 1 out as Berrigan picks up a single.
Nice piece of hitting there from Berrigan, going the other way, taking what was given. And good job by Robertson to cut it off and get it in quick and keep him from going first to third.
Looked like a breaking ball that just didn't break right there for Matheson, and an easy day at the park for Berrigan. Our first runner in scoring position here for Western Kentucky as Reed Howard steps to the plate. Howard trying to break out of a slump. He's hitless in his last 5 games. No better time than the present right here.
Yeah, key early spot here with 2 on for Matheson. And for Howard, who's been scuffling. It'd be big for him to get a hit.
That'll catch the bottom of the zone.
That's a great 0-1 pitch right there. Just split the outside corner with movement, and really tough pitch when you're struggling as a hitter already.
just misses outside. That right there, that's called a pitcher's pitch, right?
Yeah, no doubt. If you swing at that, only bad things are going to happen for the hitter.
Matheson trying to bail himself out here with a strikeout.
Howard's kind of choking up. You can see looking to just kind of make contact and see if he can put the ball in play somewhere and make something happen.
And he's got a wide open right side of the Flames infield to work with here. If he could find that, he'd most likely have an RBI. Troyer, though, does have a good arm out in right field. 2-2. Howard goes through the left side. Barone gonna throw home. It will be cut off, and Western Kentucky strikes first. Reed Howard has his first hit in 6 games, and that one had to feel good.
That's a huge spot for Howard, who's really been scuffling to come up with a big key RBI single there to put the Hilltoppers up early.
Not much Barone could do there. Hayes sliding in for the first run of the evening. And now Matheson working to the 9-hole hitter. Austin Haller getting the start here tonight after a nice performance in the midweek. Trying to turn over this lineup.
Big spot here early. Matheson really going to try to induce a grounder here to get a double play out to keep that lineup from turning over, as you mentioned.
Cal Early not exactly playing it double play depth, shaded more towards first base here with the left-handed swinging Haller at the plate. Rolls that one off the other way. Really driving Matheson's pitch count up so far tonight. 17 pitches in that opening inning, 40 here with just 1 out in the second. He's at his best when he's kind of sitting in that 60 to 65 pitch range. Went 6 innings last Friday night, only threw 61 pitches.
Yeah, that's some kind of efficient outing, especially in this day and age. And to have that kind of strikeout numbers as well.
Seeley gave that one a look. It's foul. And give this Western Kentucky lineup a ton of credit. They're one of the best in the conference this year. 323 batting average as a team. Over 8 runs per game. Good for second in the conference. Looking to do some more damage here in the top of the second. And Haller's putting together a nice at bat.
Yeah, you can see why they put up so many runs, right? A deep lineup, they fight off pitches, take the pitches that the pitcher really wants you to swing at. Impressive at bats, the first time through. You can see why they've put up a lot of runs.
Matheson in desperate need of a strikeout, grounded up the middle. That one's off the bag and into center field. Berrigan's gonna score. Going to third is Howard. And it will be an RBI single aided by the second base bag. And if you're lucky, things like that happen. Haller picks up the RBI single.
That's a tough break there for the Flames and Marsh. They had him shifted correctly, and Marsh was positioned to make the play, and then you just have it hit the bag and bounce into the outfield, and plates another run, and now you've kind of got Matheson in real trouble here early.
Flames pitching coach Andrew C. out to talk to his ace. Has not looked as crisp so far tonight.
Yeah, he's just trying to settle him down a little bit here, try to go over the scouting report again with Lizama, and try to get him to bowl his neck and get out of the inning with only 2 down. Liberty's been behind in a lot of games this year, so they've certainly been experienced from coming behind, and Western Kentucky has gotten out front in quite a few games, so both sides are going to be familiar with the situation they're in.
There is one thing, though, on a Friday night in a critical series like this, you really don't want to have to go to your bullpen super early, knowing that you're probably going to need some of those bullets throughout the weekend.
No doubt, yeah. That's the downside. If either team, when you get into that bullpen early, it's going to have implications, particularly on Sunday.
Carlos Vasquez at the plate. A check to first, and they almost got Austin Haller to be leaning a little bit over there at first.
And he was leaning, and then kind of a short hop throw. Sorensen did a good job digging that one out.
Vasquez 0 for 1 already on the evening. Struck out swinging off of Matheson to begin the game. There's the 1-0. Again off the plate. It just doesn't look like he's had that crisp stuff set so far this evening.
Yeah, especially this inning. You know, you get above 20 pitches, you start really seeing the stuff tail off sometimes in those innings, and it's a chance for a big inning.
Another
Western Kentucky.
Another check to first. Yeah, I've heard it said when you get up close to 22, 23, 25 pitches, it really does start to feel like a long inning out there on the mound.
Yeah, the way the game is built, you know, it's short burst, and you get much above that, your body kind of does things that you're not used to, and you get outside your regiment.
No one warming in the Flames bullpen yet. Matheson trying to get out of the jam here in the top of the second inning. Dangerous hitter at the plate in Carlos Vasquez, and another check to first. Paying a lot of attention to Austin Haller, who has just 4 stolen bases on the season. Haller's going. The swing. Christmas throws down. They've got the runner hung up. Now Early fires home, and he throws it to the backstop. Howard will score. Haller goes to second. And a perfectly executed fake steal, and the run scores in Howard.
Yep, exactly. And, you know, they had the out at first, and then you kind of got Marsh a little bit too close back to first, then had an off-balance throw to home, and then there's a throw in there and allowed to the third run to score there.
It was Marsh who threw home and threw it past Christmas, allowing the run to score. Haller moves up into second, in a Flames defense that's been pretty rock solid lately with a costly error. And Western Kentucky up 3-0 early on, and a runner in scoring position.
Hey, you know, Liberty's had the top-rated fielding percentage, highest in the Conference USA, and that's an area Liberty needs to win at this weekend if they're going to win in the series. But, you know, Marsh just got too close to the bag, and then you got to stop and set your feet. And that's such a tough play because you want to get the out at first, but then you see the runner breaking for home, but you've got to set your feet and get square to go home. Otherwise, the ball's going to sail on you just like it did there.
Brent, to your point, you kind of, when you looked at this series on paper, you felt like Western might have the better offense. The pitching numbers say they have the better pitching staff. Defense was an area that the Flames really needed to take care of, but that margin for error seemed a little bit narrower for them coming into this series.
Yeah, that's a bad sign for Liberty. You know, they need to play good defense this weekend to win. You know, Western Kentucky obviously has a decided advantage in the bat side, and you know, pitching wise, it's the 2 top ERA teams in the league. Although there's a wide gap, you know, in between the ERAs of the 2.
Yeah, how crazy is that? About a 1.5 ERA difference between 1 and 2 in the conference. Here's the 2-2.
Some of that's, you know, schedule and who you faced, and some of that is, you know, just they've got really good arms. But that schedule will get increasingly difficult, and it started last week for Western Kentucky, you know, taking 2 of 3 with Dallas Baptist. That's no small feat.
Big pitch for Matheson's night. Sent back up the middle. That gets through. Marsh got a glove on it. They're going to throw home. Haller hung up. Flames looking to execute the rundown. Christmas is going to tag Haller for out number 2, and a costly base running mistake by the 9-hole hitter.
Yeah, Marsh made a really good play. You know, that's exhibiting incredible range there to get to that ball. I don't think Haller thought that ball was going to. He thought that was going to get through, and then kind of got caught in no man's land once Marsh actually got to the ball. I mean, it was by him when he got the ball, and then made a good throw home.
So after the defensive mistake, some good defensive execution there for Liberty to keep another run off the scoreboard.
Yeah, big bounce back play from Marsh, who, you know, had 2 early errors and not let it get in his head and make a great play there to kind of get one back. And he's showing you his skill set there. I mean, that ball was deep in the hole, and that's a really tough throw again home.
The 1-0 misses outside, 1-1. Ethan Lizama coming in hitting .382 over his last 10 games. Popped out harmlessly to first in his first plate appearance. Stares at a ball there just inside.
Just no breaks in the lineup, you know, when you're looking for a break to get an easy out, and that's what you're seeing. Exactly why the Hilltoppers have been so good this year.
32 pitch second inning now for Dylan Matheson. That was his 50th pitch of the night there a moment ago.
And he's getting in the danger zone. You know, you don't want to get much above 30, 40, and generally you have to get taken out of the inning. They just don't want you to overextend you.
And the inning extends as Lizama is plunked. He heads down to first base. And things going from bad to worse right now for Dylan Matheson. And still no action down in that Flames bullpen.
Yeah, this is a really big spot again here. It's obviously 3 runs already in. Weidman, you know, probably the front runner for Conference Player of the Year here. Up, you know, is going to provide a tough at bat here.
Goes fishing right there. Couldn't make the catch.
That ball is, you know, up in the zone. That's going to be a tough one to hit. But Matheson's velocity obviously fading a little bit as he's getting elevated pitch count here in the inning.
0-1. Weidman shoots it to right field. It'll stay up for Troyer. He'll make the catch for out number 3. But Western Kentucky puts up a crooked number. They lead by 3 as we head to the bottom of the second in Lynchburg. Back in Lynchburg, Virginia, the fans out, braving some frigid temperatures here tonight. Western Kentucky up 3-0 early over this Liberty team. And Jack Bennett back on the circle. He came in with a 1.50 ERA on the season. That went down in the first inning, and this is a Western Kentucky team that, Brent, you alluded to earlier. Best pitching staff in the country statistically this season.
Yeah, I mean, 1.5 ERA. He's only given up 6 earned runs on the year, and the key stat is, you know, 35 strikeouts to just 9 walks. So he's going to be, you know, around the zone, and the thought is you're going to have to put the ball in play and put the ball in play with authority if you're Liberty, because he's not going to issue a lot of free passes from the track record.
Texas is having another big year in the SEC. Tennessee, Coastal Carolinas. Been a really nice team in the Sun Belt this year, a top 10 RBI. Got a chance to watch them take down number 6 Clemson a couple of weeks ago down in Clemson, South Carolina.
Former Flames pitching coach Matt Williams.
Doing some nice work down there.
Yeah, incredible staff. One of the best, along with Western Kentucky, probably the 2 best mid-major starting rotations at the mid-major level. Maybe the whole college baseball.
I think it's fair to say there. Bennett starting off Camden Troyer with a first pitch strike. A miss inside, and it's such a luxury, and that's something that Western Kentucky has, to have really 3 good weekend starters. You see a lot of teams right now still, maybe you have a good Friday night, a good Saturday, but Sunday's kind of still in flux. That's not a problem that Western Kentucky has right now.
Yeah, it's the state of the game. You know, a lot of folks are still not familiar with that, but coming in this season, there's maybe only 10 teams in the country that have 3 starters, and then you get halfway in, and there's still maybe only 75, 80 teams that have more than 2 defined starters, and virtually no one in the midweek.
And I think a lot of teams, Brent, have, and maybe even you can speak back to your playing days, but they've kind of gone away from some of those more defined roles, and it's become a little bit more nebulous in college baseball.
Yeah, it's starting pitching is the toughest thing to find, and not only in college but MLB, and you're rewarded handsomely if you are. And those guys are highly sought after, and it's something everybody's looking for. And if you've got it, everybody's working towards developing it. And if you don't have it, you're looking for it. And if you do have it, you're trying to keep it.
Hey, Brent, trust me, I'm a New York Yankees fan. You don't have to convince me that starting pitching is hard to come by. We've been dreadful lately, and I know as a Red Sox fan, you greatly appreciate that.
Yeah, you know, you guys got Max Fried. The Sox couldn't quite afford him, so I had to go get Garrett Crochet. But we'll settle for Crochet.
Well, hopefully we settle tonight for not throwing hands up here in the broadcast booth. At least neither of our teams are playing well right now.
That's it. 500 baseball, Noah.
Got to get to July, right? That's when the season really begins.
That's it.
Michael Gibson staring down an 0-1 pitch. Has been a nice piece in this lineup lately, as you mentioned earlier. A Flames team that kind of searching for some consistency down at the bottom of their lineup. They put Gibson into the starting lineup against Charlotte. He's gone 5 for 18 in 4 games since.
Yeah, Gibson's a nice, JUCO addition. That's kind of a two-way player that Coach LaCroix has talked about, trying to give more opportunities both on the mound and in the lineup, and had some nice extra base hits last week, providing some juice at the bottom.
Flames right now just searching for anything at the bottom of this lineup. The top's been pretty good. The bottom leaving a little bit left for want. The 1-2 from Bennett. Called strike 3. Caught the corner. And Bennett has his 3rd K of the evening, and that Flames dugout wasn't too pleased with that one.
No, that was looked like a borderline pitch. Tough pitch if you got to protect a little bit on it, but looked like it was a little bit outside, but probably close enough you got to take a hack at it.
So Gibson down, and Seth Christmas steps up to the plate. I think he has the best walk-up song in college baseball, playing on that Christmas name. And a nice stash, too. First pitch swinging there. Christmas off the end of the bat. That one's going to get down. A big turn at second. Troyer goes to third. The throw comes to third. It's not in time. And the Flames set up with runners on the corners here in the bottom of the 2nd.
Yeah, not doing too much with it, kind of getting jammed a little bit, and then nice deke in the outfield there, and really good throw to third. Really made that close. Didn't think that was going to be close at all. Ended up being a close play.
Clearly, Seth Christmas has been on Santa Claus's nice list lately. He's been playing some great ball. Has kind of emerged as that starting catcher for them, with Tucker Moore kind of struggling at the plate here lately, and Seth Christmas taking advantage.
Yeah, Christmas put up big numbers in JUCO ball last year. Pretty good receiver, solid arm, and kind of won the job in the fall, and then didn't have the best of spring, and then has gotten this opportunity back here.
Seeley, first pitch swinging. That gets down. Haller can't make the catch. Troyer scores, and a couple of bloops here for Liberty, but they'll take it, and they have their first run.
Yeah, kind of like what we talked about in the lead in the inning. Seeley going hacking at that first pitch, it was down there, and then not doing much with it, but doing just enough to get in the outfield. And he had a big bounce back last weekend after really scuffling for the better part of 10-15 games.
So now Michael Robertson steps to the plate. He started to show signs of breaking out of his nearly season-long slump last weekend against MTSU.
Yeah, probably the best weekend of at-bats he's had this whole year. Obviously, very experienced SEC player. Played a lot of games for Florida all the way in the College World Series, and elite defender. And you want to get that bat going a little bit and to try to contribute at the bottom there.
Bennett trying to mitigate the damage, misses outside on that first pitch there to Michael Robertson. 4 for 9 last weekend against MTSU. He would tell you that he expected a better season at the plate, but as we mentioned earlier, no better time than the present here, and a chance to drive in a run. 1-0. Robertson gets a good swing off. Nice play at first there by Hayes. That saved at least 1 run. Both base runners move up, and now Liberty with runners in second and third with 2 outs.
Yeah, a really good play from Hayes there. That ball kind of exploded on him, and he was able to kind of maintain his balance enough to get it and get the out at first and save a run.
Be productive out there for Michael Robertson, and now Cal Early will have a chance at the plate. 2 runners in scoring position for the Flames leadoff hitter. Struck out in his first plate appearance off of Jack Bennett. And I got to admit, Brent, we thought we might see a pitcher's duel tonight, and I think it's probably fair to say that neither pitcher's had their best stuff yet.
Yeah, especially, Matheson had a really good first inning, kind of scuffled a bit in the second, and same way from Bennett.
Early sawed off. That one playable in center field. Weidman makes the catch, and the Flames squares. A couple of runners in scoring position. Liberty scores. Western Kentucky leads by 2 as we head to the 3rd. Tonight's presentation of college baseball is brought to you by Foster Fuels, Turn Up the Heat, and by Carter Bank, member FDIC. And let's be honest, we could use some additional heat here tonight in Lynchburg. Overcast, there's been rain in the area throughout the day. And Dylan Matheson hoping to warm up here in the top of the 3rd inning. A 33-pitch top of the 2nd inning. Gave up 3 runs. His defense didn't help him out with a costly error. Matheson back out there, and Brent, we touched on it a little bit, you and I, during the break, but it was a long inning there for Matheson, and he really could use a nice bounce back here in the third.
Yeah, he needs a quick 1-2-3 inning here. You know, really extended himself last inning. You know, it's kind of stuff kind of flattened out a little bit, and he needs to jump back and try to more like the first inning here if he's going to make it long into the night.
These Western Kentucky teams have worked some deep counts so far, averaging over 4 pitches seen per plate appearance as Marsala attacks the first pitch and fouls it off.
Yeah, I mean, you've seen exactly why they've, we've seen exactly why they've been successful tonight. Just great at bats all around. Really, every single at bat has been a quality at bat.
0-1. Matheson couldn't get his glove on it. Early snares it. The throw across the diamond in time.
Right into the shift, and that Flames had him shifted perfectly for the second time so far. This one led to an out. First one was unlucky, but this one was played out perfectly for Liberty.
Yeah, that was actually Seeley who made the play. So on the ground ball back up the middle, you score at 5-3, I guess, right?
Yeah, it's a weird play. You know, it looks routine, but when that's not your normal positioning and the way you can't take that play for granted because you're not used to making that throw.
First pitch strike there for Matheson to Camden Ross was the second strikeout victim of the night for Dylan Matheson to lead off the second inning. Ross sends that one to center field. Robertson got a good beat on it. Makes the catch in deep center field, shy of the warning track for out number 2.
Really good swing there with the wind blowing in, still, almost getting to the warning track there.
Yeah, it is going to take a Herculean shot to get one out of Worthington Field here tonight with the flags blowing almost directly in from right field. Already a pitcher's friendly park here, but playing even shallower tonight. That foul ball looked like it got our home plate umpire. Appears to be okay. Travis Godek behind the plate. Oh, those don't feel good.
Right off the chest protector.
Still like a champ. Fly ball into shallow right field. Troyer had to go a long way. Makes the catch for the final out of the inning. And Dylan Matheson gets a nice bounce back inning. 1-2-3 go the Hilltoppers. The Flames will send the top of their lineup up when we come back. Western Kentucky leading by 2 here as we head to the bottom of the third inning in Lynchburg, Virginia. This Western Kentucky team under new leadership. Mark Rardin took over 3 seasons ago, back-to-back 30-win years, and on a much quicker pace this year, coming into tonight at 28-5. If they win 2 games in this series, they would already be to that 30-win plateau. And he's really turned this team into a really solid mid-major this year, Brent.
Yeah, he's done a good job. I mean, 30 wins is kind of that kind of benchmark you shoot for, to really kind of be a top 50 program, and obviously then 40 will pretty much get you as an at-large every year. But he's really done a good job, and he's built it, with a mix of JUCO, portal, and high school kids, and we got a really nice mix on the team, and it's been impressive watching him.
He spent a lot of time bringing in new pieces in the offseason. He talked about kind of needing to rework their offensive philosophy. This was a team that played a lot of small ball in the past, doing anything but that this year. And the first pitch there to Marsh, called a strike.
Yeah, I think they figured out, as Liberty in Conference USA, you need some power to be able to contend, because a lot of these other ballparks, besides these 2 teams, are really hitter-friendly parks, and if you don't have that firepower to compete on the road, you're going to get out hit most of the time.
Yeah, especially on those Sunday games, right?
Yeah, when the bullpens are thin, and it's going to lead to some crooked numbers.
Marsh, a big swing. This one's playable for Howard at short, about 3 steps back of the infield. The wind brings it back. He makes the catch for out number 1, and we're really seeing the wind right now have an effect on the baseball.
Yeah, the last 2 plays, you've really seen it make some eventful plays for the right fielder and short. So it's in fact impacting all areas of the field, and something to watch for if you get the ball up in the air, particularly with runners on base the rest of the game.
Makes your heart start to beat a little bit faster as that ball maybe goes farther than you thought it would.
Yeah, it moves the wrong direction than you're expecting.
First pitch misses here to Jackson Sorensen. Struck out swinging off of Jack Bennett back in the first. Bennett had 2 strikeouts in that inning, has 3 on the evening already. Here's the 1-0. Sorensen rolls over. Haller makes the play, the throw to first in time. And Bennett has 2 quick outs here in the bottom of the 3rd.
That's a really good pitch. You know, gets in on Sorensen's kitchen, kind of there, working on the first base side of the rubber all the way in and really getting the ball in, and not just for a ball, but for a strike. You know, and just catching the corner one that you gotta kind of defend.
Bennett's never been known as that overpowering pitcher, but does get a lot of that late movement, which that pitch probably looked really good right there to Sorensen, and then suddenly it's in on your hands, and all you can do is roll over to second. First pitch swinging here. Berrigan across the diamond, bounces, and Hayes can't make the short hop. So Liberty will have a base runner now with 2 outs as Barone reaches first base. I think they would score that a throwing error there on Berrigan at 3rd.
Yeah, Berrigan probably had a little more time to sit and make that throw. Well, not a whole lot of time, but kind of led to a little rushed and short hop, and then couldn't come up with it.
So the inning continues here. And Camden Troyer comes to the plate. He has scored the only run of the game for Liberty so far tonight. First pitch catches the top of the zone. And they did score that a throwing error if you're keeping score at home. So Barone at first base with 2 outs. Camden Troyer has been seeing the ball extremely well lately. An 8-game hitting streak, or rather 4-game hitting streak coming into tonight. Can't read my own handwriting, Brent.
I have that problem. Cam's had a great senior season. You know, always been an elite defender and really put it together with a bat this year.
I don't know if it's the handwriting or I turned 30 earlier this year, Brent, and I'm starting to think I might need some reading glasses.
I've got you by a decade, so I'm with you.
That was a scary thought process when I started to realize that. You think you're invincible, and then you turn 30 and they say it's all downhill from there.
Only gets worse.
1-2. Fouled off. I used to hope it was kind of you were entering your prime, and maybe it is. I don't know. Is that how you felt when you turned 30?
Sure. It depends on whether you're what prime you're talking about, right? Athletic or mental. You know,
that's
could
fair.
be either side of the coin, right?
Bennett trying to get out of the inning. Troyer, foul tips it into the glove of Ross. And Bennett gets out of the inning. Western Kentucky leading by 2. We will talk to their head man, Mark Rardin, on the other side of the break. Back in Lynchburg, Virginia, and Flash is racing his way around the outfield. Western Kentucky has raced out to a 3-1 edge, and we are joined now by their head coach, Mark Rardin. Coach Noah Frary here, and Dylan Matheson, obviously a really good pitcher out on the circle. What have you guys liked about your team's approach at the plate here early on tonight?
Well, we finally got past that first inning where he was blowing our doors off, I think, and we settled down and started getting on top of the ball a little bit more. He was just had a lot of rise on his ball, and we were just getting behind and underneath it and just wasn't catching up. So started to finally slow the game down and get behind the ball a little better.
Hey, Coach, looks like a typical start from Bennett so far. You know, doing a good job really staying on the edges of the plate and kind of keeping Liberty off balance.
Yeah, I mean, he's given us a chance. He's got through 3 innings. You know, the 1 run he ended up giving up, we scored 3 in the top of the 2nd, and he starts off the bottom with a leadoff that ends up scoring. Isn't that ironic how that happens in baseball? So he gives up a leadoff walk that ends up scoring. So that's the only damage so far from him. So Jack has been Jack so far and giving us a chance.
Coach, this season obviously has been fantastic for you guys. You get off to this hot start. How big of a litmus test is this weekend for your ball club against a really talented Liberty team?
I don't think we make it any more than it is. It's another Conference USA weekend. I think they're all big. This is no bigger than next weekend against Middle Tennessee and the next weekend after that. they're all big, and we look at them that way. So they're a great opponent, new coaching staff, great facilities. It's already been a good program in the past, and they're going to be tremendous in the future. So we got all the respect in the world for them. So we got to come in here and bring our best game. And you know, we're obviously not the WKU of old in the past, and we're not sneaking up on anybody anymore. So we got to defend ourselves as well coming into a place like Liberty.
Well, Coach, appreciate the time tonight. Best of luck the rest of the night. Stay warm down there.
Yeah, thank you, guys.
Ground out to first base there by Berrigan, and now Reed Howard at the plate. Dylan Matheson is now retired. 5 batters in a row after that hit by pitch to Lizama back in the second inning.
Yeah, that was the definition of the bounce back inning last inning, right? 6 pitches, and really kind of even that pitch count out, giving them a chance to stay in the game a little longer and keep the Flames bullpen out.
Howard sent that one well down the left field line. Had a couple of nice swings so far tonight. Single, drove in a run back in the second inning.
Yeah, that was down in the area of the pitching lab, which is nearing completion there, which will be a key addition for the Flames program.
Coach Arden mentioned it, but Brent, some just incredible baseball facilities here at Worthington Field at Liberty Baseball Stadium. A Flames team that probably has some of the best mid-major facilities in the country.
Yeah, it's hard to believe, you know, the field is and the facility is just a little bit over 10 years old now. It seems like it was just yesterday it was built, but obviously you got to keep up in the arms race, and the pitching lab was the you know, the next kind of added element to keep up with that.
2-2 fouled. Wynn bringing it back fair now, drifting foul, and the catch made by Sorensen at first. Really fighting the wind, and picks up out number 2.
Batting the second baseman, Austin Haller.
It's a good play. You know, Sorensen goes over, kind of finds the wall, and then works back to the ball.
So 2 quick outs here, and Matheson has really started to find his groove. A 6-pitch third inning. Just 11 pitches here to pick up 2 outs in the 4th. And a first pitch strike there to Austin Haller, who singled and drove in a run, was ultimately thrown out between home and third for the second out of that inning back in the second. And behind in the count here, 0-2. Haller, a veteran presence down here at the bottom of the lineup. Shoots that one the other way.
You got sawed off there. That ball really got in on the kitchen deep there.
Feel like you need one of those torpedo bats, right?
Yeah, only if you're the Yankees, right?
Exactly.
Although that's spread around the game. I hear even the Hillcats have a shipment coming in.
Yeah, I mean, you've got to, right?
Got to try it, right?
And you score 18 runs in a game, over 30 in that first series of the year. Everyone wants to copy you as Haller continues his good night. Second hit of the evening, and that'll turn over the lineup for the dangerous Carlos Vasquez.
And the Hilltoppers hitters are so good with 2 strikes, too. You know, you think of the power bats and driving the baseball, but they've shown a number of times tonight, you know, behind in the count, shorten it up, going the other way with solid contact, which is the sign of a mature lineup.
A lot of deep counts tonight against Dylan Matheson. Just continuing to foul off tough pitches to get to a pitch that you can hit. There's Vasquez. Attacks the first pitch, sends it to right field. Troyer with plenty of room, drifting towards foul territory, makes the catch for the final out of the inning. And Dylan Matheson starting to roll. His Flames down by 2. We will talk to Flames head coach Bradley LaCroix on the other side of the break. The Jackets are on here in Lynchburg. A cold day for this series opener between Western Kentucky and Liberty. The Flames trailing by 2 right now, and we are joined by Liberty head coach Bradley LaCroix. Bradley, Dylan didn't have his best stuff in that second inning, but he's bounced back nicely. What have you liked from his outing so far tonight?
Yeah, really proud of him. You know, tough ending in the second there with a big inning with a 3 spot, and a little unlucky. Ball hits second base, and then, you know, we had first and third play we don't make, but very proud of him. Come back, put up 2 zeros.
Hey, Coach, does the offensive approach change a little bit with the wind kind of swirling, blowing in a little bit for the lefties, or just kind of stay with what you're doing all year?
Yeah, just stay with it. I mean, we got to do a better job of swinging at better pitches. I mean, he can really pitch, and that's why he's successful. We just got to do a better job of swing decisions.
Coach, you guys are coming off of a big series victory last weekend against MTSU. What were the vibes like in that locker room this week as you guys kind of tried to build some momentum here down the stretch of the year?
Yeah, really good. I mean, we got some confidence and we're playing well, and we just got to, score a little bit more runs tonight.
Well, Coach, greatly appreciate the time. Best of luck. Stay warm down there.
All right, thank you.
First pitch strike there from Jack Bennett to Flames designated hitter Michael Gibson. Gibson struck out looking back in the second inning. And momentum really is a big thing for this Flames team. You pick up the big sweep last weekend against MTSU to improve to 5-4 in conference play. And it really feels like they're starting to find their stride down the stretch of the season.
Yeah, the impressive thing this year, this team has not quit. There's been 2 or 3 different times where it had been, tough circumstances that would kind of make you, all right, are they going to take a step back now with kind of where they were picked? And they haven't. They've really pushed forward both times.
Howard makes a beautiful play, just gets Gibson at first. Nice stretch over there by Hayes.
A really good stretch there by Hayes. That ball, he may have been safe there if he didn't get out there that far. Good scoop.
Well, the first batter retired here in the bottom of the 4th inning, and that brings up Seth Christmas, singled, ultimately stranded at third back in that second inning. Flames have stranded 4 runners on base through the first 3 innings of this game. And Bennett pours that one in for a strike to even the count.
Yeah, Christmas will try to get something he can put in play here and get on base and really kind of turn that bottom of the lineup over for the Flames.
1-1, Christmas off the end of the bat. Weidman steps in, makes the catch for out number 2. The ball is just not jumping off of anybody's bat here tonight on this cold evening.
No, and Bennett's really staying on the edges and forcing you to put it in play, especially with 1 or 2 strikes on you. Just nothing in the heart of the plate for the Flames to drive thus far.
And that's something that Jack Bennett does a lot. Sometimes he can get himself into some trouble, but he pitches to contact. 25 base runners in 14 innings during CUSA play, but has managed a 3.86 ERA. Going to start Landon Seeley off here with a first pitch ball. Seeley singling and driving in Camden Troyer for that first run of the game for the Flames back in the second.
Yeah, Seeley, the preseason Conference USA freshman of the year, really jumped out to a hot start and kind of cooled off a little bit as the league and the game kind of adjusted to him, and then he's adjusted back nicely, as you want to see from a, I think it's top 10 player in the state of Kentucky. A good recruit for the Flames.
2-0 here to Seeley. Sends that one down the right field line. It'll hook foul. 8th ranked shortstop in that class of 2025 is Landon Seeley. As you mentioned, starting to break out a little bit. You pick up those 2 big home runs last weekend against MTSU, and suddenly you go from maybe feeling a little bit down at the plate to right back up.
Yeah, it's natural. The game's going to adjust to you, right? They're going to see what you do well, and then they're going to attack what you don't do well. And then if you don't have the confidence or the ability to adjust, then you go in a slump. And you went in a little bit of a slump, but he's bounced back out of it. And very talented player, and just shows a lot of tools, both offensively and defensively. And the Flames have already played him at third base and center field, and he could also play some short and pitch.
Hits that one hard. Nice play at short. Howard across the diamond in time for the final out of the inning. Reed Howard with a sparkler at short, and we head to the 5th here in Lynchburg. Ethan Lozama set to lead things off for Western Kentucky. We're moving quickly here. 3-1 as we head to the top of the 5th inning. Expected a larger crowd tonight, but so far the inclement weather has maybe slowed down the crowd, but there are a faithful few here tonight, sticking it out through the frigid temperatures and the blustery wind that is pushing the wind chill probably down in the 40s right now, Brent.
Yeah, we didn't get the weather we had last weekend for MTSU. This is more like back to the late February baseball.
Yeah, welcome to Virginia in the month of April, right?
That's it, all over the place. That's why there's turf.
Been an absolute roller coaster. It felt like last weekend it was in the 80s here, and we're back down in the 40s for most of this week.
Yeah, if we, this is a prime example. If we didn't have the turf field, probably not playing today. A lot of rain today, but the turf just absorbs it and drains, and here we are, and we're getting to avoid a doubleheader, which all the coaches hate. And no one wants to play the doubleheaders on the weekend, and success so far.
74th pitch there for Dylan Matheson. He's really settled into this game nicely. Had 51 pitches through the first 2 innings of this game. Maybe being pushed a little bit farther than they wanted him to go this evening.
Yeah, he's set around that 65 mark, quite a few times, but also getting a little later in the season, and maybe you're adding 5, 10, 12 pitches here with him, and his stuff looks like it's bounced back a little bit after that 1 inning where he got a little bit tired, and but yeah, pitching into the 5th again, giving the Flames a chance to work deeper in the game.
3-1 from Matheson, cut on and missed. And we've seen the Flames a lot this year. Pitch him in that Friday night game. Maybe he goes 4 or 5 innings, throws 60 pitches, comes back, pitches in that midweek game. But you didn't have the midweek game, and so he's probably got some extra bullets in that gun here to use this weekend.
Yeah, it's an interesting dynamic, schedule change that.
This could be a tough play down the left field line. Marsh giving it a run. Barone couldn't make the catch in foul territory. And fortunate there for the Flames that there were no injuries on that play. There were 3 players in the vicinity of that foul ball.
Yeah, that's the ball that's just kind of hit in no man's land. Wind kind of pushing it. Everybody making their best effort for it. Luckily, there's pretty good communication. I think you can kind of hear there, and Barone just couldn't quite get to it. Top 10 Web Gym last weekend, so he was looking for again right in that same area. Little deeper last week.
So a full count here to the leadoff hitter, Ethan Lazama. Popped out to first, was hit by a pitch back in the 2nd. That one fouled off. Is it playable down the 3rd baseline? Sealy gave it a look, couldn't make the play. Dylan Matheson, for his part, has settled into this game nicely. He has retired the last 8 Hilltopper batters, dating back to that final out in the 2nd inning. 3-2. And Lazama's putting together a nice at-bat here, spoiling some tough pitches.
Yeah, looked like he wasn't going to be long for the game there in the 2nd inning, and then he really bounced right back and got in that rhythm. Good tempo, too. You can usually tell with Dylan, that tempo is when he's got that tempo back.
Grounds it into the teeth of that shift early. Initially bobbles it. Able to stick with it and fire to first for out number 1.
That's the ball that gives you a heart attack. Kind of comes up the skee ball chute on you, and your heart starts beating fast, trying to get it real quick and then throw over to first as the runner starts getting there.
It's also that type of ball that maybe forces the head coach to lose a little bit more hair, right?
Yeah.
I would say that a thing or two about that, but I'm not going to say that on air. Ryan Weidman swings through that pitch. First pitch strike there to Weidman, who's 1 for 2 on the night. 452 on the season. He leads Conference USA in all of those categories. He's the very definition of a 5-tool player. We've already seen him play a nice center field tonight. This is a really special piece.
Yeah, I think looking forward to see kind of how he finishes the year out. Definitely going to be a draft prospect the way he's playing, but the ball, like you said earlier, sounds different coming off the bat. Plays a good center field, super aggressive on the bases, just exudes confidence when you watch him play. You can just see he's very confident what he's doing, knows what he's up there to do, knows what he's looking for, and he's fun to watch.
I like the size and the strength too, 6'5", 204. But chases that pitch from Matheson, who's now retired 10 Hilltoppers in a row.
That was a really good breaking ball away to get a, probably the best hitter in the league to chase there on a ball he had no shot at hitting.
Showing bunt here. That one hit him. So Marsala will go to first on the hit by pitch.
That's the second time Marsala has shown to bunt already from the DH spot.
Marsala walks down to first base on the hit by pitch. We'll try to jog it off. So that'll bring up Camden Ross here with 2 outs in the inning.
That ball hit him right on the top of the foot. That's probably going to slow him down a little bit on the base pass here. If you get a ground ball up the middle, it's probably going to make it very difficult for him to beat it out. It's kind of a bruise there on the top of the foot.
That one misses upstairs. And Brett, you were talking about that play that Barone made last weekend. Our crew dug this up in the back. This was a top 10 play on the Sports Center last weekend.
Yeah, that was incredible. Just leaving the feet, full body extension down in the corner, and the Flames have had some of those over the years. I think of Aiden Carricker, a few years back in right field, I think against Wake Forest. That was right up there with the best. Just anytime you do the full body extension, you actually come up with the catch. Yeah, that's impressive.
The number 2 play on Sports Center last Saturday for Nick Barone. We talked about how good this Flames defense has been this season. They have been the best statistically in Conference USA.
Yeah, Liberty's kind of founded itself on defense and pitching. Under Scott Jackson, I think was around a 991, maybe back in the 21 season. They kind of scuffled a little bit the last couple of years, back to kind of what they want to build themselves as this year.
And that was something that Bradley LaCroix really emphasized. He says we want to play clean baseball.
Yeah, you play to the dimensions of your park. It's a pitcher's park, and you need guys to, you need a center fielder and right fielder especially that can go track it down. Then you need to make the plays on the infield, to just play to the dimensions of your park, right? And it's, again, being a pitcher's park, defense is always going to be a big time of importance here.
Ross taking that 3-0 pitch. Matheson looked to be cruising here in the 5th inning, but you hit Marsala there, the cleanup hitter, and now falling behind here 3-1 to Camden Ross. The 3-1 called on the bottom of the zone. Ross looked like he was halfway to first base.
Yeah, he wanted that one. That one had good bend on it. I think that one caught the corner, but I'm going to take a look at that one again.
That's that catcher down on one knee, the framing at the bottom of the zone that we've seen so many teams go to in recent years as they've tried to get more of those balls. And now they're going to send the batter to first base on a pitch clock violation. That might actually not have been a pitch clock violation. It looked like there was some motion there where he maybe broke his hands, which would then be a balk.
Yeah, I think they called a balk there. I didn't see exactly what he did, but just judging by Matheson's response to there. Although you're not going to be happy with either one pitch clock violation or a balk. But
well, the only thing I can say is it couldn't be a balk because the batter went down to first base.
That's
so it would
true.
have had to have been a pitch clock violation there. And I think Matheson might have been arguing that he tried to disengage, and the pitch clock didn't reset.
Yeah, I looked down. I had 2 seconds on it when I looked down, but that more than likely was a pitch clock violation. Maybe we can get word on that.
It was a walk, which would have led to that 4th ball call. Big swing there from Kyle Hayes, who has walked and flown out. Here's a look at that play a moment ago. Looked like he had stepped off the rubber, and then he was told that he violated the pitch clock.
Yeah, didn't reset it when he stepped off, or stepped off too late.
Trying to get out of the inning unscathed. A miss off the corner. 96 pitches so far in this game, a season high for Dylan Matheson.
They've extended him a little bit beyond the norm here tonight. But getting late in the year, you need more out of the guys, and he's given them that so far. And if he can bow his neck and kind of get out of here, you really tip your cap to him. 5 innings, a 3-run ball would be a nice start against a solid Western Kentucky lineup.
Western Kentucky trying to break through here, though, on Matheson. 2 runners on, 2 outs, 2-2 pitch. One's put in play to center field. Robertson will make the catch for the final out of the inning, and a nice outing for Dylan Matheson. Didn't have his best stuff, but battles. He head to the bottom of the 5th inning. The Liberty Flames got some much-needed momentum in a loud way. Worthington Field record 7 home runs in that series clincher against the Blue Raiders.
Yeah, the ball was really flying out of the yard. You know, Seeley got 2 in there, and everybody's getting the action. Barone driving the ball the opposite field, you know, right center. Sorensen, you know, like going opposite field. Everybody got in the action on there.
A far different evening so far tonight. The Flames saw 7 different hitters homer in that series against MTSU. They hit .330 last weekend at OPS north of 1,000. 10 runs per game. That's not a bad weekend at the yard, is it now, Brent?
No, it's a good weekend to be a pitcher as well, right? A lot of run support. You're going to get a win most likely if you just can put the ball in the zone.
If you're the home pitcher, right? The opposing pitchers didn't have a great weekend.
Opposing pitchers' ERAs got jacked up a good bit last weekend. That goes to tell you that's the difference in elements too, right? Those play a part of that in April, especially. I mean, things calm down a little bit more in May, but April, especially early April, still, you know, all over the place.
Haven't seen a lot of loud contact as Bennett starts off Michael Robertson here with the first pitch strike, but not a lot of loud contact off these 2 pitchers tonight. But with the wind blowing straight in from right field, it's going to be a tough evening to get one out of here. Robertson's behind in the count 0-2. You'd have to imagine Dylan Matheson's night is done after a season high 98 pitches, but Brent, that was a really nice outing after bouncing back from a tough 2nd inning, if it is indeed the end of his road tonight.
Yeah, for a couple different reasons. One, right, you're still in this game, kept the Flames in this game, extended it, but again, as we mentioned earlier, kept the bullpen fresh for the rest of the series. Even if you end up dropping tonight's game, you know, got through 5 when it looked like that wasn't going to be the case in the 2nd inning.
At one point, he was able to retire 10 consecutive batters before the hit by pitch and the walk, able to get out of trouble there with the fly out to center field to end last inning. It's Cooper Harrington, the freshman out of Sanford, North Carolina, warming in the Flames bullpen. 1-2 to Robertson, swings over the top. And a strikeout here for Jack Bennett to begin the 5th.
The Harrington family's had a big couple weeks with his brother getting called up to the show for the Pirates. Former pitcher for Campbell.
I'm a sucker for those moments on TV, right? When they show the parents and the dads cheering, the moms trying to fight back tears, right?
Well, the newest thing is, you know, you've seen a lot on Twitter or X, you know, where they're putting the video in the manager's office when they're calling the guys up that they're coming up, and you know, it's pretty cool to watch.
Yeah, there was that prospect just a couple weeks ago for the Houston Astros who they brought the parents into the clubhouse. That was a special moment.
Yeah, it's a different time now.
Early watches that pitch down, quickly ahead in the count 2-0, and definitely worth giving all the media teams a shout out who work so hard to promote their programs, whether it be at the major league level here in college. So much that goes on behind the scenes of these series that oftentimes you don't even realize is happening.
Yeah, there's so much more information available, and, you know, just highlights and everything than I think back, you know, 10, 15 years ago. It's really grown the game.
Early trying to work his way on here in the 5th, ahead in the count 3-0, and works the 4-pitch walk. The Flames with their first base runner since the 3rd inning when Barone reached on the throwing error by the 3rd baseman Berrigan. And that brings up Tanner Marsh. How early, all he does is get on base lately. Now 23 consecutive games reaching base. 477 on base percentage, and that's exactly what you want out of your leadoff hitter.
Yeah, you know, he was the other of 2 freshmen in the starting lineup for the Flames. You know, another top 10 player in the state of Virginia, you know, highly sought after, and really did a good job, kind of force his way into the lineup. The Flames really have 2 good players there. Swafford's not a bad player at second either, and Early just kind of forced his way in. But setting the table, you know, that's always a key part. You're not going to have a good offense if you don't have good guys at the top, and he and Marsh have really done the job the last few weeks especially.
Mound visit here is Dylan Napoleon out to talk to Jack Bennett. Pitch count very manageable right now. It's 65 pitches here in the bottom of the 5th inning, and some action starting to take place in that Western Kentucky bullpen. That's Lucas Hartman, big strikeout guy during league play. You have to imagine that he's warming in case Bennett maybe gets into further trouble here in this bottom of the 5th inning.
Yeah, Hartman's kind of the bridge guy for the Hilltoppers. You know, look, to get him in there and kind of get to the setup man or the closer, probably get a couple innings out of him. So, you know, they've got it mapped out exactly like they'd like it so far.
Not much of a drop-off between the starting pitching staff and the bullpen for this Western Kentucky team. 2-0 now to Tanner Marsh.
Marsh got to be looking for the fastball in one spot right here.
He has been Liberty's best hitter during Conference USA play this year, an average close to 400 in league play. The 2-0. That'll catch the corner. Off-speed pitch there from Bennett.
It's a good take there on 2-0.
That's not a pitch you can do any damage on.
No, I mean, you can shoot it to the right side, but, you know, you're looking for a better, maybe a little bit pitcher on the flat.
2-1. Marsh saw a pitch he thought he could do some damage with, sends it to center field. Weidman makes the catch for out number 2 as Early retreats to first.
He just got it off the end of the bat a little bit. Missed being able to drive it a bit, but again, another good pitch there from Bennett.
So that'll bring up Jackson Sorensen, just 2 for his last 14 at the plate over his last 4 games. He has struck out and grounded out in this game. Bats with a runner on first base here in 2 outs in the 5th. Sorensen has the power with one swing of the bat to tie this game. It'll be hard if he tries to go to right field here tonight, but 10 home runs on the season, leading this Liberty team and inside the top 5 in the Conference USA this season.
Sorensen's one of those guys that really showed a lot of good opposite field power. You know, this year good backside power and, you know, kind of a natural 3/4 swing. You know, it doesn't make sense to say that, but that's what he's good at. And he really kind of almost stops the bat and just has tremendous power with that swing. So he could definitely go the other way.
We saw a home run just like that in that package that we showed you coming back from break in that 7 home run game that the Flames had last weekend against MTSU.
He does a good job on staying back on the ball, and then, you know, he's so strong in his upper body that even if he gets kind of fooled out front, he can still almost, you know, force it to the wall or over with his upper body strength.
0-2, way upstairs.
Good find for the Flames, another JUCO player, you know, big stats. I think started out at Gonzaga and went the JUCO route, put up big stats, and has kicked it right over into the D1 side.
A check to first as Early slides back in safely. And that's what a lot of these mid-major coaches are having to do. They're having to look into the JUCO ranks to find good players, or those developmental pieces that maybe some of the high majors are more looking towards the transfer portal these days. Here's the 1-2. Early's going. The pitch swung and grounded to second. Haller has it. The throw to first in time. And we head to the 6th inning here in Lynchburg. Western Kentucky still clinging to a 2-run lead. 2 of the top teams in Conference USA waging war here this weekend in Lynchburg. A critical 3-game series for both teams as they look to secure some good seeding heading into the postseason tournament. And Brent, this is a Conference USA that has been a really good conference this year in baseball. Right now, the 5th best conference in the country, trailing only the Power 4 conferences. Dallas Baptist has had a nice year. This Western Kentucky team, Liberty's playing really well, and 5 teams inside the top 60 in the RPI really speak to the overall strength of this conference.
Yeah, you know, the top mid-major conference, obviously, which is a incredible feat, and then right on the heels of the Big Ten for 4th, that they could possibly overtake here in the next couple weeks, which again is very impressive. And you've also got Louisiana Tech, which is obviously a baseball power that's kind of in that 110 range that, you know, if they keep doing what they usually do, they'll be in that top 50-60 mix as well, and they've hosted a regional the last couple of years. So strong baseball league, and should be able to, you know, generate 2 to 3 teams, you know, a couple teams possibly at large if they can keep this up.
Well, we'll get back to that in just a second here, but time to introduce you to the latest Flames pitcher. This is the freshman Cooper Harrington out of Sanford, North Carolina, making his 10th appearance of the season on the bump.
Yeah, Harrington, you guys worked exclusively out of the pen this year, but the Flames obviously mentioned several times they like him as a starter, you know, long term. He's kind of going to sit in that low to mid 90s, decent off-speed stuff, kind of a bridge, starting that kind of bridge role for the Flames. And key spot here. You want to keep the Flames in a 2-run deficit and give the bats a chance to kind of come alive, maybe potentially against the bullpen.
So Harrington enters. He will face the bottom third of this lineup, and a first pitch swinging from Barrington, gloved at first, and Sorensen steps on the bag. 1 pitch, 1 out for the freshman.
Yeah, nice start. That's what you want for Coop. You want to get in there and put it in the zone and have him swing at it, and then Sorensen makes a nice play for him there, and he's right in the flow of things.
Brent, I want to go back to that RPI conversation because a couple of teams that I think are probably right on the bubble right now, if you look at D1 baseball and their mid-season, you know, field of 68, both of these teams were out, but I think that there's an on-ramp here at the end of the season, both for Western Kentucky and Liberty, to put themselves in a position to get into a regional.
Yeah, you know, generally in the mid-major level, you want to get in that top 40 to be safe. You know, that doesn't mean you can't get in if you're a little above that, and they're both in scratching distance. I think Western Kentucky actually bumped up, you know, RPI live. I think they're actually sitting at 40 at time of the game. So, but to feel safe, you want to get inside that top 40, then you're pretty safe at that point as a mid-major.
And that's because ultimately you have those automatic qualifying bids. Conference USA is going to get one of those. It'll be determined here in Lynchburg at the end of May, but you have a lot of those automatic qualifying bids, and then ultimately you have bid stealers. Maybe, you know, Dallas Baptist could go in favored into the Conference USA tournament and not win the tournament. A Liberty, Western Kentucky, a Kennesaw State could get in, and suddenly now that could steal a bid potentially for a team like Liberty or Western Kentucky.
Yeah, no doubt. Then you also have to, you know, if you're the mid-major schools like Liberty and Western Kentucky, you know, the conversation comes down to like an SEC team that might be 12 and 18 or something like that, but has that RPI up there because the SEC is such a good league. And you want to differentiate yourself with those non-conference wins, something, you know, Liberty 4-2 against the ACC has done, and Western Kentucky continues to get opportunities. Took Vanderbilt into extra innings last week in their first opportunity.
And that's where I think Western Kentucky right now might have an issue because their strength of schedule this year, 229. They do have 3 wins against quad 1 teams, and we mentioned that RPI has already improved heading into tonight, but I think when they look at this resume at the end of the year, it probably is still maybe searching for that signature win.
Yeah, you know, they don't have any more you know, power 4 games in the midweek really there. Oh, they have Kentucky, sorry, but then they've got Louisiana Tech, and so there's a few opportunities, but not a lot. So they're going to need to win the games, you know, against the teams that are in that top 60, the RPI within the league, to get them that. I can think back of Campbell back in the day. I think in the Liberty's Big South days that won, I think it was 51 games and got left out one year.
Haller keeps the inning alive with his 3rd hit of the evening. Has been a nice addition at the bottom of this lineup. Yeah, and let's be honest, the margin for error can be at times slim for some of these mid-major programs. You talked about the SEC. They're probably getting 10, 11 teams into the field this year as we see Haller pick up his 3rd hit of the night. The ACC's been really good. Big 12, as always. The Big 10 continues to be stronger as they've added programs.
Yeah, and credit Western Kentucky. I mean, they're 24-0, you know, in quad 4 games. So they've just destroyed the quad 4 games. And what you're supposed to do when you play teams you're supposed to beat, and they've just left no doubt there. But it's going to leave them a little bit of a, you know, less of a margin in error against. They're going to need to pick up some of those games against the Kentuckys and Louisiana Techs and the Liberties down the stretch to build that resume, and then also into the tournament.
Another ground ball right back up the middle. Western Kentucky hitting it where it's been pitched as Vasquez picks up his 2nd hit of the night.
Vasquez is a good hitter. I've been really impressed with him tonight as the leadoff guy. You know, up at the 377, really good at bats, good speed, and again, real good approach at the plate, just hitting it right back up the middle, and you can't shift him, and just hitting it where it was thrown.
I think that very sentence could probably describe half of this Western Kentucky offense. So many dangerous weapons up and down the lineup here for Mark Reardon. Pitch will miss outside. Harrington got off to such a promising start of this outing, retiring the first couple of batters, but back-to-back singles here with 2 outs, and that brings up Ethan Lizama, searching for his first hit of the night.
Yeah, Harrington, looks like his velo's a little down out of the stretch. He was up 93, 94 from the windup. He's sitting kind of around 91 out of the stretch here.
And I did want to add one final thought to that conversation about RPI when it comes to Western Kentucky. I think that's why that series last weekend against Dallas Baptist was so big. You win 2 out of 3 against a ranked team. That really helps you down the stretch of the year.
Yeah, 2 out of 3 on the road as well, against Dallas Baptist, who's, hosted a regional a couple times and really become the kind of the flag bearer for the conferences and on the national level.
But as Western Kentucky will tell you, just take care of business, win the Conference USA tournament. We can forget about all the RPI talk.
That's it.
Here's the 1-2. Breaking ball misses inside.
Although it does improve your seating, in the regional.
That's fair.
Chance to be a 2 and instead of a 3, and kind of you just want to stay out of that having to play the 1 seed in the first round if possible, or the first game.
Yeah, I mean, you think back to last year, Western Kentucky probably would have been going to like a Kentucky in the first round in the regional.
Yeah, the committee's always loved to bunch those teams, in the same area. I think back of South Carolina a few years, several years, they've put Clemson, South Carolina, and Coastal all in the same regional.
Hey, especially now in this rev share era of college athletics, we're all trying to find ways to save money, right?
Yeah, the College Baseball Committee does not subscribe to the theory that the conference realignment as a whole does.
Called strike 3 there for Harrington, and a nice outing there for the freshman. Gives up a couple of hits with 2 outs, but a big strikeout here as we head to the bottom of the 6th inning in Lynchburg. Back in Lynchburg, Western Kentucky up by 2, and it's been another nice night on the bump for one Jack Bennett. 5 more innings tonight, just 1 earned run. Bennett now 19 innings in Conference USA play, an ERA south of 3.5, and his season ERA has gone down so far tonight. I really like what I've seen from him. He's not an overpowering pitcher, but you oftentimes hear the moniker about a player being a pitcher, and I think that very well describes Bennett out on the bump.
He's kind of a throwback guy.
Yeah.
Pitches, everything's moving, dancing. He's really in control. He's got a good plan and has really stuck to it and made it difficult for the Flames.
Brent, I saw a super interesting video on X today. It was Greg Maddux talking about his playing career. Did you know that he used to call all of his own pitches from the mound?
No, I did not. That's probably a Nick Pierce quote there.
Yeah, and the interesting thing was in this video, it all depended on how he received the pitch back from the catcher. So if his glove went down and he caught it, then that would be a certain pitch. If he touched his mustache, it would be another. You just don't see those types of things these days.
Well, if you think pitcher, that's the guy that immediately comes to mind. Obviously,
Yep.
Glavin behind it, but Maddux was so good at just not being a Braves fan at that time. He's super frustrating to watch because he was so good and you just got tired of it. But as good as those teams were, only able to get one World Series?
Well, they had to go up against the '98 Yankees, right?
Yeah, I figured you would tell
Always
me.
a way to get back to that reference. That one's sent into right field. Lizama over near the foul line makes the catch for out number 1. We spent the top of the inning talking about Western Kentucky's tournament resume. Here's a look at Liberty right now. Probably, again, on the outside looking in, an RPI of 51. That strength of schedule has been extremely challenging. But the one thing, and you touched on it earlier, that the Flames have is they've had a lot of signature wins, 4-2 against the ACC, 3 ranked wins. Those are things that are going to play up come the end of the year.
Yeah, Liberty's always scheduled, very tough, and they've gotten back to where I think it was either 21 or there was a year they went 7-3 against the ACC, and they're kind of pushing those limits again this year with wins over Wake, UVA, Duke, and NC State, and I got a few more opportunities left as well.
And I think that's one area where maybe I think the Flames are a little bit blessed on the proximity that they have to a lot of the best teams in the country. Maybe something that Western Kentucky doesn't have as much of, being in Bowling Green.
Yeah, those ACC teams especially, they're looking for road midweek games they can play home and homes with the teams that are going to have strong RPIs. That's not going to hurt them if they lose a game to it. And You know, it makes it very difficult for recruiting because there's so much competition in the area, but for scheduling, it's a big benefit.
Riomis is outside to Troyer. That one's going to get away from the catcher. Troyer was thinking about making the turn to second. Will stay put at first with the walk. And I think if you're Liberty, the one, for lack of a better term, the trump card that they might have here at the end of the year is they're hosting this baseball tournament, the Conference USA Championships, and I think that could really help them at the end of the year. Obviously, a team that is built to play in their home ballpark.
Yeah, I mean, just like Western Kentucky, I think it was 22-0 at home. Liberty 17-4. So both teams again built for their park, and it's comfortable. You sleep in your own bed, right? And you don't have to kind of get in a normal routine a little bit, you know, where the other teams are all kind of playing on your turf. And so it'll be fun for Liberty to get to host that and for the town to experience it. It's been a while. I want to say maybe 2011. I want to say maybe since the Flames or 12 hosted the Big South tournament.
It looks like we might have a conversation here between the umpires.
Asking for some clarification there.
Not exactly sure what was being asked. The pitch clearly a ball there. But it's a walk with one out in the inning, putting Troyer at first, and that brings up Michael Gibson. 0 for 2 tonight, has struck out and grounded out. And I think that's why this was just such a big series for both of these teams. These are two of the best in Conference USA. This one has a postseason feel as you head down the stretch of the season.
Yeah, you know, just getting to the ballpark early, it felt a little different intensity-wise, right? Not that the other games didn't matter more, but you could feel both teams kind of the seriousness of it, and like, hey, things are really starting to get towards that home stretch, and need to make some statement wins, and both teams looking to get ready for that.
Flames trailing by 2 after giving up 3 in that second inning. Gibson goes the other way. That gets through the vacated hole. Liberty going station to station, and now with runners on first and second with 1 out.
Nice piece of hitting there for Gibson. You know, really just, again, shooting it the other way, which is what we've seen from both teams offensively most of the night. Not a lot of driving the ball. The Flames don't have a ton of speed on the base pass right here, so they're playing station to station. Christmas coming up here. Probably looking to see if there's something he can drive.
So Liberty set up now with a pair of base runners on and 1 out, and Seth Christmas coming to the plate. He hit the walk-off home run in the 10th inning of Game 2 versus MTSU.
Yeah, Christmas, one thing about Christmas, he's got some pop from the plate, and so probably going to go out here and go over the scouting report, and maybe go into the bullpen here, but at minimum go into the scouting report.
And there will be the signal. So that will be the end of the line for Jack Bennett, the pitching coach for Western Kentucky. Dylan Napoleon making the signal to the bullpen. And Western Kentucky will bring a new pitcher into this game. We will introduce you to him when he comes back. Liberty threatening here in the bottom of the 6th, but trailing by 2. Western Kentucky has gone to the bullpen. Jack Bennett's night is done after 5 1/3 innings pitched. Still responsible for the 2 runners on base, and they turn it over now to Lucas Hartman, who pitched last Friday in relief of Bennett. Went 2 2/3 innings, did not allow a run, picked up the save in that win over Dallas Baptist. He comes in making his 11th appearance of the season.
Yeah, Hartman's kind of the first guy out of the pen to kind of bridge to the setup and closer pitchers for Western Kentucky. Just a really strong 118 opponent's batting average, kind of a herky-jerky over the top throwing motion, probably hard to pick up, and ball gets on you quick. And again, another guy that's been very successful and striking out a lot of batters as well.
The Western Kentucky bullpen that has been a tough riddle for Conference USA opponents to crack. Just 4 earned runs allowed over their last 21 innings pitched in their last 6 games, an ERA of 1.73. Hartman in relief in a big spot here. Seth Christmas coming up to the plate. Homered twice last weekend against MTSU. And Hartman taking a long time to get warm. He had given quite a few pitches here to warm up as Jack Bennett exits this game. Has to be pleased with that outing. Just 82 pitches 49 pitches for strikes as he exits in line for a victory.
Yeah, another really good start for him. You got to be super pleased with Coach Raridan. I mean, he exits with a 2-run lead, gets you to the 6th inning, and turn it over to that bullpen, and right on script so far for Western Kentucky.
Seth Christmas steps to the plate. Heroics a weekend ago, a big spot here against one of the best relievers in the conference this season. First pitch cut on and missed. Christmas 1 for 2 on the evening, singled, ultimately stranded at third, back in the 2nd. Don't let that batting average fool you. He's been playing much better here at the end of the year. The 0-1, check swing, soft ground ball to first. Hartman has it, and will tag Christmas there for the 2nd out of the inning.
Kind of a check swing. Unfortunately for Christmas, got just enough of it to get it out there to where it was becoming out for Hartman. It does move both runners over with 2 outs, which the tying runs are in scoring position for Sealy here with a base open.
Landon Sealy stepping to the plate, the lone RBI of the night for Liberty. Driving in Camden Troyer back in the 2nd. Check swing, they check to first. No, says our first base umpire, Dennis Michaud. Flames with a couple of runners in scoring position here in a big spot in the bottom of the 6th. Sealy grounds it foul.
Hartman looks like he likes to work quick, keep the infield on their toes, get the ball, get back on the rubber, and get that sign and get the ball in there again.
Hey, always a fan of pitchers that like to work fast out on the hill. 1-1 to Sealy. Lays off a tough offering. Sealy had 2 home runs and 3 RBIs in that series finale against MTSU. Prior to that, just 1 home run and 111 plate appearances this season.
Yeah, the coaching staff have been working with getting him back up the middle a little bit, which really got him off the slide a little bit.
The 2-1 offering, now 3-1. And if you're Hartman, you do have a base open at first base. The 9-hole hitter, Michael Robertson, looming on deck.
An interesting spot here for Coach if Sealy's able to get on here.
The 3-1. A big swing there. Sealy went hunting. Huge pitch in this game. Payoff pitch from Hartman. And misses down, and Sealy is on base via the walk, and the Flames have the bases loaded here in the 6th.
A good take right there. Pitch was definitely a ball, but it was close enough that you could definitely swing at it. And it looks like Coach is going to stick with Robertson here.
I don't think that's a big surprise there with Robertson's defense in center field.
Yeah, definitely no one is good defensively on the club if you take him out, but I thought we might see someone like Falk here kind of match up left to right in a big spot.
Robertson has been a little listless at the plate lately, but did show signs of breaking out of that slump last weekend, going 4 for 9. 0 for 2 tonight. Struck out in his last plate appearance against Jack Bennett, one of the 5 strikeout victims of the night for the WKU starter. The 1-0, Robertson grounds it to second. Haller, the easy throw over to first, and Western Kentucky gets out of a bases loaded jam here in the bottom of the 6th inning. Lucas Hartman enters, does her job, and we head to the 7th in Lynchburg. An entertaining game so far tonight between 2 of the league's best. Dylan Matheson got off to a good start in this night, but it was Western Kentucky who got to him in the 2nd. The Hilltoppers plating 3 off of the Flames ace, aided by the bag. They took a 3-0 edge. A couple of costly fielding mistakes by Liberty, allowing the Hilltoppers to get on top, and then the Flames play some small ball In the bottom half of the inning, Camden Troyer got on with the walk, driven in there by Landon Seeley. And on a cold night here in Lynchburg, it's a 3-1 game. As we head to the top of the 7th inning, a look at the game recap brought to you by Carter Bank. And partner, I don't know about you, but I think this is kind of how we expected this one to play out tonight. A couple of good starting pitchers, offenses that broke through at one point, and now we're kind of at a stalemate.
Yeah, 11 hits overall, nothing real loud. Not a lot of loud contact, and the pitchers have really controlled the pace of the game. And defenses have played well for the most part, other than a couple errors there in the 2nd inning, and crisp game otherwise.
Cooper Harrington back out there for his 2nd inning of work. A first pitch strike to Ryan Weidman. Weidman just going to slap that one through the right side. You know, I've been trying to figure out who his swing reminds me a lot of, and I have a comp for you. Nolan Arenado of the St. Louis Cardinals. Just the ability to have big power to the left side, but then he'll also just shoot one back through that right side to pick up a hit.
Yeah, similar size, little kind of closed stance.
Yeah.
And, yeah, I can see that. He's been fun to watch. Really good approaches, and you know he's been looking to go right field the whole night. Just keeping those hands back and just flicking the ball into the outfield as he's done all night. Probably could have another hit or two tonight.
There's a conference over here in front of this Western Kentucky dugout, and I wonder if we're going to see a pinch hitter upcoming. Marsala due up at the plate. Weidman is going to stay at first base. Ross right now standing on the on-deck circle. And it does appear that we will have a pinch hitter coming into this game. Caleb Marmo, the left-handed hitting outfielder out of Johnson City, Tennessee, is going to pinch hit here for Thomas Marsala. He was hit by that pitch that last time up, and you have to wonder how much that affected him. He was the designated hitter, so they go to Marsala here, and it looks like the Flames are going to counter. Well, they trip to their bullpen.
Yeah, it didn't look like he's moving real well after that, and that's the type of hit by pitch that can linger, you know, throughout the weekend for a few days.
Thought this might be a pitching change there, but I did not see a signal to the pen. Maybe just a conversation here for Coach Bradley LaCroix with his infield, understanding the stakes of this inning and knowing that Weidman is an instant threat to steal the moment he steps on first base.
Yeah, that and probably getting a quick scouting report on the pinch hitter here who's fresh off the bench, and probably hadn't spent a lot of time on him yet, so making sure Harrington's in the game out of the bullpen and making sure everyone knows positioning and what they want to do as far as the plan of attack here.
So Weidman on first base. All the wheels in the world, 27 for 34 on stolen base attempts this season. And you almost expected there was going to be at least one throw over, right?
Yeah, you can't let him steal first pitch again, right? We got to vary up the delivery times.
Big spot here for the freshman Harrington. The bunt. Harrington goes to first. And now they're going to call it balk. There was a lot of confusion on that play. And it looks like they will call the balk before the bunt took place. So now Weidman advances 90 feet to second. And Marmo is going to come back to the plate. I feel like we've seen it all in this inning.
Yeah, you don't see that very often. I'm trying to think if I have seen that before. It's tough. He races the out there. You know, Marmo's basically giving himself up with a bunt right back to the mound.
Conventional wisdom says you probably take the bunt off here with the runner in scoring position. Check back to second, and Western Kentucky's Coach Reardon mentioned it, that this is not your grandfather's Western Kentucky team that over the last couple of years led the nation in sacrifice bunts. They are a team that is built to swing the bats this season, so A golden opportunity for the pinch hitter here to give Western Kentucky some breathing room. He squares around. And apparently did not hit the bat. It goes to the backstop, and now Weidman advances to third.
That's one of those scenarios where the bunt probably screened Christmas a little bit. Didn't see the ball clearly, and it gets by him to the backstop, and Weidman's standing on third, and suddenly Marmo goes from going to sacrifice to now having a chance to just get the ball in the outfield and give the Hilltoppers a 3-run lead here in the 7th.
If you're Harrington, that's one way to not have to worry about him stealing second or third, right?
That's it.
A balk and a wild pitch. Here's the 1-0. The bunt's still on. Have to wonder if this is that old safety squeeze play here, trying to squeeze across to run here to stretch the lead to 3. A beautiful bunt. Harrington going to check Weidman back to third, throws to first. And good execution there as the runner Weidman has to stay put at third.
Harrington's thrown out Marmo twice now on the bunt.
That's fair. Just some PFPs on a Friday night here in April.
That's it. Still in scoring position with less than 2 outs. You know, just looking to get a ball in the outfield here for Western Kentucky to extend that lead to 3.
Camden Ross steps to the plate. And Harrington misses outside.
Kind of surprised he was still looking to bunt there. Left on right matchup, less than 2 outs.
You have to wonder how much faith they had in the bat in that situation. 1-0, 2-0. Ross really starting to rebound here lately. 4 straight starts. He's hit .500 in those 4 games. He had been 0 for 13 at the plate in the 6 preceding games. 3-0 now. Pitching carefully here to Ross with Kyle Hayes on deck. If you want Ross, it would set up the double play. Ross taken all the way on 3-0, 91 miles an hour out of the hand of the freshman, Cooper Harrington.
Harrington's going to look to stay in the corners here, as you mentioned, and set up the double play. If he swings and bounces into something, you'll take it, but if not, put him on.
Ross shoots that one the other way, and now if you're Harrington, you're thinking about picking up a strikeout.
Yeah, the situation changed a little bit here on 3-2. You got to go to your best pitch, and again, you don't want to stay in the middle. You want to stay on the edges and try to pick that strikeout up and get it to 2 outs.
Pinched at the corners here for the Flames. Middle infielders playing in, and Ross fouls off the pitch. Fastest pitch of the evening there for Harrington.
Reaching back for a little extra there, touching 94. Real, very defensive swing there from Ross, but doing a job, you know, putting the bat on the ball, living to fight another pitch.
3-2 pitch. Ross having a nice at bat.
It's a big swing there on 3-2. He's looking to do damage with that swing and just missed it.
Cooper Harrington trying to win the battle here on the bump. 8th pitch of the at-bat upcoming. And Ross goes the other way off the glove of Sorensen. It goes into right field. Weidman will score, and Ross comes through as Western Kentucky picks up some much-needed breathing room.
Yeah, great at bat there from Ross. Really battled until he got a pitch he can handle and shoots it the other way, and it just gets under Jackson's glove. He can't smother it and plates the run. 4-1 now, Western Kentucky.
So the Hilltoppers add to their advantage. Ross credited with the single there in the RBI. An unearned run after the balk and the wild pitch pushes Weidman to third. And that's what good teams do. They find ways in these situations to get that tack-on run that I think is going to loom really large in this game.
Yeah, big difference between a 2- and 3-run lead against the quality arms of the Hilltopper bullpen and also the conditions of the night where Liberty's had limited base runners.
Kyle Hayes at the plate. 0 for 2 tonight. Behind in the count here, 1-2. And you can really see why this Flames staff really likes Cooper Harrington on the hill.
Yeah, good stuff. You know, tops out kind of 94, 95. Solid off-speed stuff. Again, he profiles the starter. He's just, you know, growing him into that role.
Pitching here in a high leverage spot in this game. Had to come in relief of Dylan Matheson, who in 5 innings tonight gave up 3 earned. Gave his team a chance to win tonight's ball game. 1-2. And a late swing there from Hayes. What does that swing tell you about how they're seeing Harrington out there?
Yeah, ball's getting on him a little bit, but they're been able to extend the at-bats until they can get something they can handle, which, again, another sign of good hitting clubs. Liberty does have a couple arms, right and left. Looks like ready down in the bullpen if another runner's able to get on here.
I think the biggest area of growth that Harrington's going to have to continue to make is what is that put-away pitch, maybe that secondary pitch when they're clearly sitting on the fastball right now.
Yeah, exactly. You know, you get ahead in the count, and you got to be able to bury it, put it away, and it's not a bad pitch. It's just not a plus pitch yet.
Shot through the vacated right side. Ross is going to go to third. Big turn at first from Hayes. And a nice piece of hitting there by Kyle Hayes. And now Western Kentucky with runners on the corners here and still just 1 out.
Western Kentucky's really worked the backside all night long. And I've lost count, but I think that's 6 or 7 hits through the first and second, the 5-4 hole. 4-3 hole.
Really have been impressed tonight with this Western Kentucky offense that came in leading the league with the 323 batting average. And you don't get to those numbers without being able to do like you're talking about, just hit the pitch where it's pitched.
No, they've shown they can score a lot of different ways. You know, they haven't hit anything really with authority tonight, but they've hit a lot of line drive, just singles, and taken what's been there.
First pitch strike here from Harrington to Drew Berrigan. Berrigan 1 for 3 tonight, is grounded out to first base in his last 2 plate appearances. Chance for an RBI here in the top of the 7th inning. Harrington trying to keep this at just a 3-run deficit for the Flames.
It's probably Harrington's last batter here if he's not able to get the out.
In at the corners, double play depth in the middle. Flames would love a double play right here. And another check to Berrigan. Liberty's turned 26 double plays this season.
Much improved up the middle defensively this year.
1-1. Runners going. The throw down to second. Now the throw's coming home. The tag is not in time. It was dropped. And Western Kentucky gets a 2nd run in the inning. And more great execution from this Hilltopper squad.
Yeah, 2nd time they've pulled that off tonight, and both times they've been able to get Liberty to throw back home, just not in time to make the play.
Looked like the throw got there in time, but Christmas wasn't able to hang on.
Yeah, kind of juggling it on the short hop there. Again, just a really tough play. It's a tough, put you in the position of making a split-second decision of what are you going to do? Are you going to take the out, or are you going to throw it home in a tight game? You know, Liberty's Marsh there is trying to cut that run down at the plate to keep it at a 3-run game, but just not quite able to get it there in time, and Christmas just not able to hang on.
And I think what you've seen tonight is a big reason why Tim Corbin, the head coach of Vanderbilt, had a lot of really nice things to say about Western Kentucky after that 5-4 midweek game that those two played last week. This is a team that does a lot of the little things right.
Yeah, they've kept pressure on Liberty all night, you know, between the hitters putting the ball in play and hitting it where it's thrown. And then once they get on, they've been on the move and forced Liberty to make plays. And most of the time, Liberty's made the plays, but they forced 2 or 3 errors there that have really led to opening up the 4-run lead.
2-2, Berrigan back up the middle, early snares it, gets to his feet and fires to first. What a play there from Cal Early to pick up the second out of the inning as Hayes advances to third.
A big-time backhand play there from Cal Early. That ball was hit very hard and goes to the backhand and sets himself, makes a good throw to first, and holds the runner at third there to keep the lead from being extended.
It's plays like that that have the Flames very excited about the future of Cal Early at the Keystone.
A big-time range right there. Strong arm. Really showed it off from a defensive standpoint on that play.
There's Reed Howard, had a big hit in this game back in the second inning. It drove in the first run of the evening off of Dylan Matheson. Since then, he's 0 for 2. Struck out looking in the 6th off of Cooper Harrington. And behind in the count, 0 and 2. Much different look here against Harrington than against the Flames starter Dylan Matheson to begin the game. Harrington looking for the strikeout to get out of the inning. He'll miss off the plate.
Well, here's an example looking for that put-away pitch. You know, 1-2. This game's still within reach. You know, 4-run, you know, grand slam opportunity, obviously, but you got to get that put-away pitch here to get out of the inning.
Howard fights it off. Marsh makes the catch. And a final out of the inning, but Western Kentucky tacks on a couple of insurance runs. It's time to stretch here in Lynchburg. A young fan is stuck around here tonight on a cold night in Lynchburg. The old Cotton Eye Joe here at the ballpark, stretching in the 7th inning, an entertaining night. Those two ladies are having some fun. Got to dance on a night like tonight, Brent, here with how cold it's been.
It's the one way to keep you warm. Still one fire pit down the right field side that you can find. The other taken away there with the pitching labs, but that's one way to keep warm.
I was thinking maybe we should have the fire pit up here in the booth, but I don't know if the smoke detectors would like that.
Well, you talked me into it. We'll see if we can get it put in.
At least some hand warmers or something. It has been a cold night here. Fans trying to find some energy here, and the Flames trying to do just that, trailing by 4 as we head to the bottom of the 7th inning. There's a look at the fire pit. I could use that on my hands right now.
Yeah, just got one at home for myself. Had to get it hooked up, and it works nice. Don't have to get the smoke smell.
Day job treating you well lately, huh?
Yeah, there you go. Not quite that nice, but.
So we head to the bottom of the 7th inning. It will be the top of the Flames lineup. Cal Early, after making that nice defensive play in the top of the 7th inning, leads things off. That's normally how it works.
This is one of those innings where top of the lineup in the 7th here, Liberty probably needs to get on the scoreboard here in the 7th if they want to make a real run at getting back into the game here.
That's why those 2 insurance runs that Western Kentucky gets last inning, I think, are so huge in a game like this, where you really felt like this was an incredibly close game until just a few moments ago.
Huge, yeah. It's a big difference between a 2- and a 4-run lead. You know, obviously Western Kentucky's obviously been throwing it very well and been pitching around the plate all night long. And now Liberty's got to find a way to get a couple guys on base and then drive them home just to get back in it.
Low. Early lays off. That'll even up the count. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Lucas Hartman out there for his first full inning of work. Came in relief of Jack Bennett with 2 runners on in that bottom of the 6th inning. Able to work out of the jam. Strand and the bases loaded. Early sends that one down the left field line, and well, foul.
Hartman's one of those guys that's fun to watch. You know, puts everything into each throw, and you can tell really just loves his job and knows what he's out to do and knows his limits, and he just putting max effort into every pitch.
2-2 early. One's dipping in a hurry, and it will get down. And that will extend the hitting streak. Cal Early with a leadoff single here in the 7th.
Now batting the shortstop.
It's really incredible what he's done as a true freshman here, and you know, again, setting the table here in the 7th at the time when Liberty really has to have that. This need to kind of get back into it.
And if you're Liberty here, you can't just come to the plate thinking about hitting home runs right now. It's kind of that old saying about, you know, taking a bite out of the elephant here and just kind of getting base runners on and then coming up with some big hits.
Yeah, you just got to get a couple runners on base and then try to force some pressure and then have something happen there. And again, this is a good bullpen. You know, they're not going to give you a lot. They don't walk a lot of guys, so you've got to hit the ball. Their staff just does not put a lot of guys on base.
This WK bullpen, a ERA south of 1.7 over their last 6 games of Conference USA play. 0-1 pitch to Marsh, shows bunt. That's a good one. Hartman gonna have to hurry, has to eat it. And Liberty set up with runners on first and second and nobody out, and that's a perfect time to break out the bunt.
Yeah, beautiful bunt there by Marsh. Puts it right in the perfect position, deadens it a little bit, and obviously Marsh runs well, and Hartman just has to stick it in his back pocket and live to fight another day. Nice footwork there from Marsh, too, to kind of get to a comfortable spot and then explode out to beat it out.
He saw the third baseman Berrigan playing back and able to lay down the bunt, and now Jackson Sorensen steps up in a big spot. And a breaking ball misses inside to Sorensen, who leads this Flames team in home runs this season. 10 on the year for Sorensen, but he has struggled at the plate lately, just 2 for his last 15. The 1-0, Sorensen rips it through the right side. Early makes the turn, the throw home, not in time. Sorensen comes through. The Flames have runners on the corners, and they trail by 3 in the 7th.
Yeah, I was just getting ready to say, I think this is a good matchup for Sorensen. You know, Hartman's stuff's kind of 89, 90, you know, with sink on it, and Sorensen likes that ball down, gets it down in and drives it through the 4-3 hole again for an RBI single to cut it back to 3.
Lozano's got a great arm in right field, but Early able to beat the throw. And Liberty picks up a run of their own here in the bottom of the 7th inning. Still nobody out and runners on the corners for Nick Barone. And a first pitch strike there from Hartman, who has been so tough to get to lately for opponents, but the Flames have done it here with 3 straight singles to begin the 7th inning. Breaking ball misses upstairs. Wide open right side of the infield here for Barone. If he could get it through, Flames would have another run. The 0-1 from Hartman. Fouled straight back our way.
Yeah, Barone right on that 88-mile-an-hour fastball. 1-2 count. Don't think Hartman can blow it by him on velo here, so he's feeling like he can still take a pretty powerful cut at it. Just got to get it in the outfield at least to make that run up on third if you're Barone.
The 1-2 bounces it. Barone 8 RBIs in 8 games in league play this season. A big spot here for the transfer from West Virginia. One of those big transfer portal additions for the Flames after Bradley LaCroix took over. The 2-2. Barone sends that one into right field shallow. Lozano makes the catch. Tagging is Marsh. Here's the throw. In time! Lozano cuts down Tanner Marsh at the plate, and will the Flames ask for a review?
It's a great throw there. Yeah, that ball wasn't terribly deep. A little curious to see if they were going to send him, and he did. First look there, it looks like he may be out, but you never know. You can slip under that tag, and it's hard to see.
Lozana has one of the best arms in this Western Kentucky outfield. You see Marsh looking a little banged up on the play. They are going to review this play. If it stands, that would be the 5th outfield assist of the season for Lozana out in right field.
Two of the best arms in Conference USA between Troyer and Lozana there. I mean, great throw. Got his momentum in and just threw a strike to home plate.
You can see Marsh a little bit banged up right there. Call on the field is out at home plate. We'll get you a couple looks at it momentarily. Marsh thinks he got his hand in under the tag. It was tough to tell. Here's our first look at it. Not much you're going to be able to tell there coming from behind. This could be a slightly better look. The tag was late, and it was that left hand of Marsh that has the sliding mitt on it.
He may have gotten his hand in there. It's just really hard to tell from that angle. And again, the call on the field was out, so they're going to have to find indisputable evidence. Here's a good angle.
Does he get that left hand in there before the tag is applied? And I think he might have.
Might have.
It looks like that tag was applied a little bit farther up the body.
Yeah, sometimes you get it, and it's just you're trying to hold on to it as the catcher while you're also turning, and then in turn you don't necessarily quite get the tag on where you would like to, and now you may have slipped underneath that.
Does probably help that he has that shading of that black oven mitt there. You can definitely see a big difference there on the plate. The question, though, was the tag by Ross in time? They zoom in for us. Now it feels like we're trying to decipher some shadows here, Brent.
That's as close as it gets. Without the oven mitt, you know, the hand protection on there, I don't know that you could see that at all, but that's going to be tough. I mean, it looks like he may have gotten it in there, but it's going to be tough to overturn it just since the call on the field was out.
So as close as it gets at home plate, this is where that call on the field matters so much, because you have to have that clear and conclusive video evidence to overturn this call.
Well, credit Tanner there, you know, because the ball clearly was an excellent throw, and it was going to take an incredible slide, and to make it even close to where he had to go to review it, he had to really have a good slide.
Here's a final look at that replay we were showing you a moment ago, zoomed in. Watch that left hand. Does it get in there? I don't know, Brent. I've been wrong about 70% of the year this year, but I think he might have got in there.
I think he may have as well. It's going to be all about, is there enough there for them to stick with that, you know, to overturn it. But definitely kind of looks like he kind of went around it. The hook, you know, kind of went around it again. Again, you're trying to make that catch, hold on to it, turn, and put the tag down.
So our umpires have made their way back out on the field, and they will stick with the call. And you have to wonder if they had enough to overturn that play at the plate. Being told that the call stands, which would mean that there was not enough evidence to overturn that call at home plate.
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head. I mean, it's one of those where it looks like he may have been safe, but just the initial call was out, and they just had to stick with it.
So a line drive double play, you get the out, and then you score it 7-2 on the put out there at home plate. And a nice defensive play there from Western Kentucky. Now 2 outs here in the inning, and Jackson Sorensen had to stay put at first base. So just as you were starting to think, if you were a Liberty fan, that a big inning was on tap, you quickly run yourself out of the inning.
Yeah, that's a tough break there. That ball was borderline. It's one of those you just have to make a judgment call, but Liberty trying to be aggressive and get back in the game.
Grounded. Hartman racing over, steps on the bag for the final out of the inning. And the Flames rally is extinguished in the 7th inning. They get a run to get back within 3, but Western Kentucky avoids further damage. A beautiful night here on Liberty Mountain. A 3-run game as we head to the 8th inning. Western Kentucky up by 3, and it feels like every time we show that fire pit, more people are heading over towards it as the temperatures continue to drop here in Lynchburg.
colder it
fans.
gets, the more action you're going to find there.
One cool thing you can see right there are the pickleball paddles that they handed out as the free giveaway tonight. The first 250 fans picking up Liberty-themed pickleball paddles. And the reason for that is this is a Flames coaching staff, Brent. They were telling us earlier this week they love the game of pickleball. They oftentimes on those weekend trips will always find a place to play on Friday. And I have been told that those games get extremely competitive between this coaching staff.
I don't doubt it. I haven't made it to pickleball yet. I think I'm sticking with ping pong. How about you?
I have made it to pickleball. I enjoy going out and playing with my wife. I, get angry at her every once in a while. I think that's my fault, but it's kind of a fun game. It's a little bit easier than tennis. And
who's the better player?
She is, for sure. More finesse. I'm kind of that dumb guy who just wants to overpower the opponents, and I'm just not good at it.
Welcome to most baseball players.
Exactly.
Baseball players playing golf.
That's why I'm sitting up here in the booth now.
It's 2:30. I can hit that. Perfect.
Hey, my golf game's not any better. Here's the 0-2. Rounded back up the middle here from Haller. Long run, and he'll beat it out. And what a night for Austin Haller down in the 9-hole. He's been on base all 4 times, 4 singles, and he leads off the 8th inning here with a single.
Yeah, Haller getting on base 4 times out of the 9-hole. That's a luxury for a lineup that's as explosive as Western Kentucky is.
That play was just too slow to develop there, and nothing early could do. And Haller was a big part of this team a season ago. Scuffled a little bit this year, just 229, but nice performance here to begin this critical series for the Hilltoppers. That turns over the lineup here for Carlos Vasquez. He's had a couple of hits tonight in 4 plate appearances. $11 hits on the evening for Western Kentucky against this Flames pitching staff. We talked about it a lot, but I think we've both been very impressed with the approach of Western Kentucky to begin this series.
Yeah, they've kept the pressure on all night. Just again, not trying to do too much, but really working the backside and then running when you get on.
Runner was going. The hit and run might have been on.
I was going to say hit and run, double steals. I mean, they've solo steals. I mean, they've really utilized everything. Bunts. They've really kept the pressure on the defense.
I think the saying kind of goes like putting the game in motion, and that's something that they do as good as any team in Conference USA. Came in leading the conference in stolen bases this season with 80. I don't know if that was a hit and run. Felt like a protection swing right there.
Yeah, that's a tough one to put the bat on.
Or maybe a missed signal, right?
Yeah.
Isn't that where they have that jar in the middle of the locker room where, you kind of have to put $1 in if you miss a signal like that?
That's it. If you're Vasquez, it was hit and run either way. It was a tough pitch to handle there.
End of the year, you use it to have a pizza party.
Yeah, you're sticking with it.
1-1, another check to first. That one a little bit closer. Haller looked like he was leaning. Liberty still in striking distance, but could use a shutdown inning here in the 8th inning. A third check to first, paying a lot of attention to Austin Haller. One from Harrington. Haller's going. The hit and run was on that time and executed to perfection. Haller motor into third. The throw is in time.
Wow.
You saw Lozana's arm in the top of the inning. Welcome to Camden Troyer's arm as Haller gunned down at third.
And that's something else you do not see very often. A hit and run and thrown out to going to third on the front end. Incredible throw by Troyer there. That's two of the best, again, probably the 2 best arms in the conference you've seen in back-to-back innings.
So a big first out there, and Vasquez will be on first base with his 3rd hit of the evening. He's been a multi-hit machine this year. Now 15 games with multiple hits, 6th time this year that he's had over 3 in a game.
If you're a base runner the rest of the series and the ball's in the right field corner, you better proceed with caution on either team.
Yeah, the stop sign must be up at that point, right?
Yeah, I mean, those are two of the best throwers you're going to see.
But I think in a series like this, those are some of the risks that you're going to have to take. I mean, it's kind of the risk it to get the biscuit, right?
Yeah, yeah. And Western Kentucky's in the driver's seat, right? So, you know, you don't want to lose a run that way, but I mean, it takes a perfect throw to get that out. So you can live with that if you're Western Kentucky.
There's Ethan Lizama at the plate. 0 for 3 tonight, did extend a 20-game on-base streak with a hit-by-pitch back in the second inning. Probably not the best way to extend an on-base streak on a cold night like tonight. You'd much rather just that hit or the home run. Harrington, 2 strikeouts in the outing so far, looking for a third. Will miss inside. He's had a number of these type of counts that he's just not been able to get out of that batter. Check to first again. This time it's Vasquez who slides in safely.
Yeah, Vasquez got 7 steals, you know, in the year 7 of 8. Pretty solid speed. So you want to keep him close. Not a huge lead right now.
The 1-2. Sent into center field, pushes Robertson back. He'll make the catch for out number 2 as Vasquez retreats to first. And that brings up Ryan Weidman, who's had another excellent night tonight. 2 more hits. The true 5-tool player for this Western Kentucky team.
Yeah, Weidman has shown all night, you know, exactly, you know, what he's was touted coming into the game, and he's shown it really in the field and at the plate. And just he's been looking to go opposite field all night long and just pushed the ball over there and just kept pressure on the Flames. Like that Arenado comp, the more I see him, that's a good comp. Kind of waits back and then just explodes the bat through the zone.
Big night here for Weidman. Batting average the best in Conference USA this season. You saw his speed on that replay package, force the balk, then the wild pitch, and then able to score a critical insurance run. And I am being told that first hit of the evening for Weidman was actually ruled an E6, so only 1 for 4 tonight. I think he would tell you that's kind of a pedestrian evening for him with the way his season's been going.
Yeah, he still had a lot of solid to, you know, loud contact though in the 4, so a quiet 1 for 4 from a stat sheet perspective, but he's put the ball in play and, you know, really shown how he can handle the bat.
There's the 2-1. Now 3-1. And this is a pitch now, if you're Weidman, if it's anywhere close to the zone, you can really do some damage on.
I'm sure he's got the green light here.
I would think he's probably earned it at this point.
Yeah.
Here's the 3-1 to Weidman. Does damage. Drives it to center field. Robertson on his horse. He won't get there. It's off the wall. Vasquez makes the turn at third, and Weidman has a double, and Western Kentucky has a 4-run lead here in the 8th inning.
Liberty gets 1 back, and Western Kentucky comes right back and answers and extends it right back to 4.
Look at the power off this bat.
Yeah, that ball really jumped just off the wall, and it really didn't look like he fully got extended on it.
15th double of the season for Ryan Weidman, leading Conference USA. It just seems like every at-bat that he has had tonight has just looked like an extremely professional at-bat as the Flames are going to the bullpen here with 2 outs in the top of the 8th inning. Cooper Harrington's night is done. The Flames going to the pen for the 2nd time, trailing by 4. We'll introduce you to their next pitcher when we come back. Well, the Flames have gone back to the bullpen. This time it's the senior Trey Cooper who comes in to make his 7th appearance of the year. You go to the left-handed pitcher here against the meat of this Western Kentucky lineup.
Yeah, Trey's in his 3rd year with the Flames, you know, in former NC State transfer. Good stuff, you know, low 90s fastball. Usually it's all about keeping it in the zone for Trey. If he can keep it in the zone, he can have an effective outing. If he's battling it a little bit, then he gets in trouble sometimes. But the stuff's never been the problem with Trey.
Thomas Marsala was due up in this spot, but it does look like Western Kentucky is going to counter the move here and send the right-handing Joe Ciervo to the plate. Bradley LaCroix pushing buttons here in this 8th inning, trailing by 4. He's got the bottom 4 in his lineup due up in the bottom of the 8th inning, but the top of his lineup will get an opportunity in this game. And there's a look at the pinch hitter, Joe Ciervo.
Yeah, just another guy with solid stats, you know, across the board.
For WKU, number 32, Joe Ciervo.
And actually Marmo had pinch hit for Marsala, so Ciervo now batting here in the cleanup spot. Mark Reardon pushing all the buttons here in the top of the 8th inning. 2 outs. And Cooper's first pitch misses low. Snap throw to 3rd. And they got him. Weidman gunned down at 3rd. If it stands, it would just be the 2nd time this year. It would be just the 2nd time that he is caught stealing. Looked like a good tag there. Well, we got to look at that attempted stolen base, and Weidman was indeed out. Just the 2nd time this year that he has been thrown out trying to steal 3rd base. He's now 9 of 11 on the year, and we head to the bottom of the 8th inning here in Lynchburg. Lucas Hartman still out there. This will be his 2nd complete inning of work. Flames nearly got to him last inning, or did indeed get to him for the run, but he was able to get out of further damage. And now the Flames will send the 6-hole hitter, Michael Gibson, to the plate. Gibson singling off of Jack Bennett back in the 6th inning. That would be the final batter that Bennett would face on a night that he went 5 1/3 and gave up just 1 earned run. And Hartman starts Gibson off here with a first pitch strike.
Yeah, Hartman's living up to his role as kind of the bridge guy, you know, to get in there and just eat up 2 or 3 innings to get it to the setup man or closer.
And I think now, if you're Western Kentucky, you're probably thinking maybe we try to get Hartman through the conclusion of this game. We saw him in that game 1 last week go 2 2/3 innings in relief of Bennett. And we touched on the fact that in this series, you're expected to probably have to use some of your high leverage arms. Yes, you probably would then lose Hartman for the rest of the series, but might be worth it to get the win tonight.
Yeah, you're going to keep, you know, Jones and Higgins available and fresh, and no doubt I think if he can stay clean here or even keep with 1 run, they'll probably ride him to the finish line as long as his pitch count doesn't get too elevated.
2-2. Caught the bottom of the zone. Gibson didn't like it. A strikeout for Hartman to begin the 8th.
Nice pitch. Right on the corner there. Maybe a hair outside, but good frame job.
He entered tonight averaging over 14 Ks per 9 innings during league play. First strikeout of the evening there as he gets Gibson looking. Now Seth Christmas has a first pitch ball. And I think, again, back to the last inning, when you get that insurance run, I think that allows you to maybe contemplate pushing Hartman a little bit longer, because this is no longer a safe situation.
No doubt. Yeah, you want to, at this point, he's thrown right. He's in that 30 to 40 pitch range, and so he's kind of probably out of it for the rest of the weekend anyway, so you might as well ride him to his limit of probably 50 to 60 and see if he can get you through to the finish line.
And interestingly enough, it would actually turn into a save if he was able to finish this game, because you are able to pick up a save if you go 3 innings and do not surrender the lead. He's through 2 innings so far as Christmas swings at that offering. Berrigan across the diamond, a good stretch at first, held the bag, and out number 2 in the inning.
Berrigan showing off the arm a bit there.
And even that right there is just great execution, because you've got the third baseman who's coming towards the ball, whereas the shortstop, if you field that's going to have to throw across his body, and suddenly that play becomes a much tougher play.
Yeah, it's not an easy play, coming in, and then more usually where you find the problem is on the throw, and kind of coming across that sidearm kind of throw, and he pulled a little bit off the bag, but Hayes was able to go move with it and showing good flexibility. Nice play.
Sealy grounds it to third. Nice play at third. Berrigan, though, can't find first on this. It'll be a infield single for Landon Sealy, his 2nd hit of the night. 3rd time he's been on base out of the 8-hole.
He made the decision to charge it, come in and attack the short hop, and gloved it, and then just kind of got away from him a little bit. But again, good play by Hayes on first. Sometimes you see the first baseman try to get locked on the bag there, trying to make the play, and recognize it.
Can we talk about that mustache?
It's top notch.
That was as good as it gets.
Raleigh Fingers-esque.
Handlebar mustache. We got to get another look at that. That is as good as a mustache as you will see at the collegiate baseball level. Perfectly waxed.
Yeah, he's worked at that.
That's mid-game form right there. 0-1, misses low.
He's flashing the leather around over there in the arm a little bit.
I'm just jealous. I can't grow a mustache to save my life. It never connects in the middle.
That's hard to get it looking like that. That's some talent, yeah.
Sealy strays off first. Robertson puts that one in play, but it goes foul. He's had a tough night at the night. 0 for 3 has struck out, grounded out in the 2nd inning, or 6th inning rather, with the bases loaded to end that 6th inning.
Liberty was kind of hoping maybe some of that success from last weekend would carry over. Has not yet thus far tonight.
1-2, misses high. Robertson transferring over from the University of Florida, appeared in the College World Series a season ago for the Gators, who also just won the men's basketball national championship. It's been a good year to be a Florida Gators fan.
It has. Robertson had a couple of nice plays in the World Series the last couple of years, the top 10 plays.
There's the 2-2 upstairs.
He's a guy, you know what's in there. It's just what do you need to do to get it unlocked, to unlock it. And just you continue to work at it and stick with him, because you know the glove is elite, and it can run a little bit as well.
And a walk issued. Liberty with 2 runners on here with 2 outs in the bottom of the 8th inning. And that gets it back to the top of the lineup as Cal Early will step to the plate for the 5th time tonight. You get the sense right now that if you're Liberty, you've got to take advantage of this opportunity here in the 8th. Easier said than done. And is this the end of the line for Lucas Hartman? Western Kentucky's had a left-hander warming in the bullpen, and with the left-handed swinging Cal Early due up, do they consider going to the pen?
Looks like it may be Higgins down there, the lefty matchup reliever for him. And if you're Coach Raridan, you know Liberty's come back in a lot of games this year, right? So, certain teams you may feel a little better about a 4-run lead, but Liberty's had the pedigree and had the experience of coming back, so he's planned to win. Looks like he's going to give Hartman another shot here. Now, Hartman's one of those guys who's going to battle, though. You can just tell that with him. Like, you're not going to take the ball away from him unless you have to pry it out of his hands. Like, he's one of those guys that he's going to give it every last drop he's got.
Trying to get through the inning. He has to go through Cal Early, who's been on base in his last 2 plate appearances, scored that run for Liberty in the 7th. Swings at the first pitch, foul tips it into the glove of Ross. Early extending his hitting streak to 7 games earlier tonight, an on-base streak that has now reached 23 straight games. Little miss inside. Perhaps a final stand here for the Flames in the bottom of the 8th inning. Early behind in the count, now 1-2.
It's a really good pitch. Kind of tiring a little bit, knowing it's getting near the end of the line for him, and just buries the breaker there. If you're Cal, you got to shorten up a little bit. You got to do your best to put it in play here and extend the inning.
1-2 from Hartman. Early swings over the top, and Hartman gets out of the inning. Western Kentucky leading by 4 as we head to the 9th inning here in Lynchburg. Lucas Hartman's 2nd strikeout of the night. The Hilltoppers will take a 4-run edge into the 9th inning. Coming in 6-3 in Conference USA play. It's been a battle so far tonight. A lot of hitting from both teams. Western Kentucky, though, 13 hits to Liberty's 8. And the one good thing that Western Kentucky pitching has been able to do is, even giving up the hits tonight, they have largely minimized the damage. Yeah,
all singles except for the one double. The wind has laid down a little bit now, and so who knows? You may see some extra base hits, fireworks here in the 9th inning if some guys are able to square the ball up a little bit.
Top of the 9th inning here in Lynchburg, and it will be the pinch hitter once again, Joe Ciervo. He was at the plate when Ryan Weidman was gunned down at 3rd base, so he gets a fresh count to work with against Trey Cooper, who starts him off with a first pitch ball.
When's the last time you saw a game with 20+ hits and only 1 extra base hit? It's been a while.
Just the ball has not been flying tonight. There's another base hit there for the pinch hitter Ciervo. And here's an oddity of the night. So Trey Cooper picks up an out in this game before he ever threw a pitch.
There's 2 or 3 of those tonight. Things that you just don't see very often. It's the beauty of baseball.
That's why you keep showing up at the yard,
That's
right?
It.
I tell people all the time, the thing I love about this job the most is I show up and I never know what's going to happen that night.
College baseball especially, there's just things. Yeah, I mean, you saw a triple play, the other week Liberty hit into. I mean, just you never know.
7-home run game.
7-home run game. Yep.
The leadoff runner here to begin the top of the 9th inning. Camden Ross has had a nice night, had an RBI in his last plate appearance. A single and a walk. 1 for 3 tonight.
He's had some impressive at bats as well. I mean, he only has the 1 hit, but you can see why he's on the draft radar headed into the year.
Yeah, you love the defense behind the plate. He really hasn't had a chance to show off that arm that has seen him gun down multiple base runners this season. But I think the bat needs to continue to develop. And oftentimes, though, you see as you take that next step to pro ball, it's kind of the defense that carries a lot of catchers.
Yeah, no doubt.
Runners going. Christmas couldn't handle the pitch, and a stolen base for Ciervo.
Not a lot of catchers that can hit very well at the next level for sure, so the glove has got to carry you. And if you are able to hit, the Hit Tools Plus, I mean, you're going to get a lot of looks at the catcher. Conference USA's had a lot of catchers. Yannick, last year for Stampede State, it's really an impressive collection of catchers in the conference the last couple of years.
I think, too, as you've seen college baseball become more of a veteran sport, you've seen a lot of just really good catchers just across the board.
Yeah, get old and stay old. That's the new rhetoric you hear thrown around in
Feels like
college athletics, and teams are trying their best, especially at the mid-major level.
whip around to second. Ciervo back in time. 4 stolen bases tonight for Western Kentucky. Came in leading Conference USA in stolen bases. 4 of 5 tonight. Now 84 on the season. Three-1 to Ross. Swings through it. Trey Cooper, the 3rd pitcher of the night for the Flames after Matheson started it. Harrington came in for 2 2/3 innings. And Cooper blows it by Ross. First down of the inning.
Nice pitch from Trey there. That's really, Trey at his best. Good movement on the fastball, kind of getting it in on the hands. Even against a, righty. Kind of late life on it.
Here's Kyle Hayes. Hayes singling, stealing a base back in that 7th inning, ultimately stranded at 3rd base.
Trey's one of those guys a couple years ago when he first committed to Liberty in the summer. I think he went 25 innings in the Wood Bat League without allowing a run before coming to Liberty.
Hey, you can see it. The stuff screams that.
Yeah.
Here's the 1-0. Popped up, sky high in the infield. Sorensen has a beat on it. Makes the catch for out number 2.
It's a big second out there.
If you're the Flames, you want to get out of this inning without giving up another run and give yourself a chance with the meat of your lineup due up. It's the 2, 3, 4 hitters, and if anyone could reach, Camden Troyer would come up. I think that's why, if you're Western Kentucky, you probably let Lucas Hartman go back out there, and if he gets into any trouble, then you go to your bullpen.
100%, yeah, you're going to give him a shot.
And the pinch hitter here is plunked. That was Henry Brown pinch hitting for Drew Berrigan at 3rd. A hit by pitch extends the inning.
It's tough for Brown coming in off the bench cold and get plunked on the first pitch.
Yeah, I'd be saying, Coach, just keep me on the bench for this one, right?
Yeah, no kidding.
So Brown goes to first. Ciervo at second. And now Reed Howard at the plate. Swinging at the first pitch. Sent to right field. Troyer's coming in. He makes the catch for the final out of the inning. The Flames trailing by 4, but with the top of their lineup due up. Do not turn off the TV. A good one coming up here in the bottom of the 9th. Big credit to all the fans who have stuck this one out. We're headed to the bottom of the 9th inning. Liberty trailing by 4 here to Western Kentucky, but with the 2, 3, 4 hitters due up in their lineup, if anyone could reach, Camden Troyer would come to the plate, and they will face Lucas Hartman, who is still out there on the bump. He entered in relief of Jack Bennett back in the 6th inning. Since then, he's gone 2 2/3 innings, has given up just 1 earned run. Has been some traffic on the bases against Hartman, but so far has been able to work out of trouble. You have to imagine the leash is pretty short for him heading into this 9th inning. We've seen Cal Higgins, the left-handed closer, warming.
Yeah, he's sitting at 49 pitches. You think it's probably, he's got a chance if he can get the first guy out and keep rolling. If not, the first guy gets on, that may be it when Sorensen comes up.
If you're Western Kentucky and a fan of that program, you're hoping that he can get through this inning and kind of preserve some of the big arms down in your bullpen. Liberty, though, trying to get further into this Western Kentucky bullpen. First pitch to Marsh is called a strike. Marsh with a pair of hits tonight extended his hitting streak to 12 games. Backdoor breaking ball misses inside. One to Marsh. Fouls off. Liberty's had 8 hits in this game. They've had 11 total runners on base. They've stranded 11. shortage of traffic on the base paths for either side, but neither team's been particularly good at capitalizing as Marsh sends that one back up the middle. Howard to it across the diamond for out number 1.
Yeah, Hartman, exactly what he wanted there. You know, get that first out, and then you can face Sorensen and Barone with nobody on, and he's got a chance to bridge the gap and complete the game for the Hilltoppers.
Yeah, what you didn't want was to have Troyer come up to the plate with a chance to tie it in this game. So now Sorensen comes to the plate. He singled and drove in a run in the 7th inning to extend his 17-game on-base streak. First pitch strike here as Hartman's working efficiently in the 9th. This would be a save if he is able to finish off this game. Bennett would pick up the win, and it would be the same formula Western Kentucky used last Friday night. And that one hit him. Sorensen asking for the review, and it looks like we will get one here. He was confident that he got hit on that front leg. You have to imagine this is the last thing the umpires want to do here on a cold night, right, in Lynchburg?
Yeah, you know, you get it though if you're Sorensen. The Flames need base runners. You know, even if he hits one out of the yard, it's still 6-3. So, you know, kind of smart play there from Sorensen. If he can get on, maybe start something.
Hey, fortunately for the umpires, I think Bootleggers is open late here tonight if you want to get a bite to eat or.
A couple options downtown. You got to think it hit him, though. He's pretty confident in that. I don't think at this point, you know, he's going to, yeah, right off the shoe top there.
And initially on the field, there was not a hit by pitch called, so you have to have that clear and conclusive evidence. And even if it bounces and makes contact in that situation, it's still ruled a hit by pitch, and I think it's going to be one.
Yeah, it's kind of redirection of the ball there.
Oh, yeah, perfect. That was a great notice there.
Right off the face mask. But that's all he's doing. He's trying to get, you know, he knows they need base runners, and as much as a guy like that with power potential, you know, would love to stand there and try to take a shot at hitting it out of the yard. And at this point, Flames need base runners if they're going to try to get back in it. So
a quick review. And they will overturn the call. So it is a hit by pitch, and Sorensen will head to first. He's been on base in his last 2 plate appearances. And that passes the baton to Nick Barone, who probably had one of the more unfortunate at-bats in this game. If you're a Flames fan, a line drive to right field that turned into a double play. Lazama gunning down Tanner Marsh at the plate. What would have been a 3rd run for the Flames at that point. Barone bats 0 for 4 this evening. Did reach by way of a throwing error back in the 3rd inning.
if you're Liberty, you look back to a couple spots, you know, the ball hitting the bag on that play that scored a run, the tag up there on the Barone ball, and then one of the double steals. Yeah, that's really the difference in the ball game.
And Brent, you kind of expected that in a big game like this. The margin for error was extremely slim, and you felt like for Liberty, because of the strength of the Western Kentucky staff and bats, that it was maybe even slimmer this weekend.
Yeah, and that's probably what the send, you know, on third there on that Barone fly ball. They know they got an opportunity to score, and so you try to take a shot at it. But those 2 or 3 things, yeah, it's the difference in the ball game tonight.
Liberty still battling here with a chance late in this game. They did have 3 consecutive walk-offs last weekend against MTSU. A couple of them led to run rules. The other was the walk-off by Seth Christmas in game 2 of that series. 0-2, called a strike. 3rd strikeout of the night for Lucas Hartman, and 2 outs in the bottom of the 9th.
It's a tough pitch, maybe a hair low, but probably got to take a swing at that one, especially given the situation.
Yeah, this late in the game, I don't know if you're taking one that close.
No.
So here's Camden Troyer. He came in with a 4-game hitting streak, has walked twice, but yet to record a hit. If he can reach Michael Gibson is on deck. Hartman's had a nice outing tonight. 3 1/3, just 1 earned run given up, 3 strikeouts. Almost 60% of his pitches have gone for strikes this evening.
That's what you call doing your job.
Flames down to perhaps their last pitch. Here's Hartman's 0-2. Troyer lays off. One, two, check swing. He did not go. A lesser man would have called that a strike, right?
I was waiting on it, but he gave him the benefit of the doubt there. I don't think he went, but definitely putting it in the hands there.
Perhaps one more pitch here for Hartman on a cold night. Troyer fights it off. Hartman gobbles it up. Throws to first in time. And Western Kentucky lands the first punch. The Hilltoppers come into Lynchburg and pick up a 7th conference win. And Brent, this was an impressive showing.
Yeah, they did exactly as billed coming in. Sprayed the ball over the ballpark from the hitting side, kept pressure on the Flames, and threw the ball well.
Well, a fun night was had here in Lynchburg. Western Kentucky comes in and picks up a big win over the Flames. They improved to 29-5 on the season and 7-3 in conference play. So for Brent Jenkins, our producer, Seth Andrews, the rest of our crew, brave the temperatures. I'm Noah Prairie saying so long from Lynchburg. This has been a presentation of Conference USA Baseball on ESPN.